Long before modern science claimed to understand the world ancient civilizations left behind, traces that still refuse to be explained. Massive stone structures built with impossible precision artifacts that seem far ahead of their time, and symbols carved into rock with meanings long forgotten. These are not myths or legends. They are physical remnants of a past we barely comprehend. Archaeologists uncover them, scientists measure them, yet the questions only grow deeper. Who built them? How were they made? And more unsettling, why does modern knowledge still fail to fully explain them? The ancient world was not as primitive as we are taught. Somewhere beneath the dust of history, uncomfortable truths remain buried, waiting to challenge everything we think we know about human civilization. There are great mysteries lying silently beneath the jungles of Cambodia, mysteries never told in books, never mentioned on famous journeys of discovery. Amidst that wilderness and stillness, an ancient pyramid suddenly rises, towering and utterly out of place, the Koh Ker Pyramid. It is not the famous Angkor Temple, nor does it resemble any other structure in the region. Koh Ker is a huge question mark left by Khmer history. Every stone, every moss-covered step here speaks of a glorious era now forgotten, and above all, a secret never revealed about the true function of this pyramid. What do you think the true purpose of Koh Ker Pyramid was? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Koh Ker is not a name that often appears in travel guides or textbooks on ancient architecture. Most of the attention is given to Angkor Wat, Cambodia's most magnificent temple complex. And yet this very fact makes Koh Ker even more mysterious and alluring. Built in the 10th century during the reign of King Jayavarman, the fourth Koh Ker served as the capital of the Khmer Empire. For only a short period, a ghost city that flourished brightly before fading away, leaving behind a bizarre, seven-tiered step pyramid, nearly 36 meters tall, standing proud amidst the ancient forest. The architecture of Koh Ker is so unique that at a glance, many would associate it with the stepped pyramids of the Americas, those of the Maya or Aztecs, rather than the typical Khmer style of domed roofs, round or square platforms, and soaring spires. This anomaly only further confounds researchers. Why in Southeast Asia does there exist a pyramid so foreign in appearance? And does its design hide any secrets about the true purpose of the structure? Unlike Angkor, the center of all Khmer power, religion, and economy, Koh Ker is isolated more than 100 kilometers northeast of Angkor, nestled deep within rugged mountainous forests. According to historical records, King Jayavarman IV unexpectedly moved the capital here in 928, making Koh Ker the new capital for just over 20 years, before it was mysteriously abandoned when the next king ascended the throne and moved the capital back to Angkor. The contrarian choice of location has given rise to many theories. Perhaps this place once held a sacred significance beyond conventional religion, or did it serve some purpose that even today, later generations still cannot fully fathom? The true function of the Koh Ker Pyramid remains a great unsolved riddle with numerous fascinating and controversial theories debated among archaeologists. Many ancient records and archaeological discoveries suggest that Koh Ker was once a center for worshipping Shiva, one of the three supreme deities in Hinduism, highly prominent in ancient Khmer beliefs. Prasat Tom, the main temple at the heart of the complex, leads up to the summit of the pyramid, where a colossal Shiva statue once stood, but has now completely disappeared without a trace. Yet what puzzles researchers is why the Khmer people chose the form of a massive stepped pyramid, so radically different from the soaring temple towers typical of Angkor. Was this unique structure merely meant to elevate the god's statue, or did it serve ceremonial or symbolic purposes far beyond the confines of traditional religion? Many theories propose that Koh Ker was constructed as a ceremonial pyramid, a venue for royal or divine rituals or important sacrificial ceremonies intertwined with royal power. The steep steps symbolize the path to the heavens, a place where humans and deities commune similar to the axis mundi seen in many ancient cultures. This raises speculation that Koh Ker might have once been a center for cosmic rituals still unknown to humankind. Some researchers believe the pyramid's terraces were ideally designed for deity processions, sacrificial rites, or esoteric rituals reserved for priests and nobles, the people who held the greatest spiritual power. There is also the possibility that this was a place for ceremonies of royal rebirth quests for immortality, or even shamanic or trance rituals, with traces perhaps still buried deep beneath unexcavated layers of the pyramid. Another feature that makes Koh Ker unique is that its main axis does not follow the traditional east-west orientation, but rather veers sharply to the northeast. According to archaeoastronomers, this direction matches precisely with the position of the sunrise on the summer solstice. This opens up the theory that the entire pyramid and the Koh Ker complex might have been laid out according to key astronomical events, serving purposes such as predicting the agricultural cycle, celebrating sun festivals, or conducting rituals for the eternal movement of the cosmos. Moreover, some artifacts found at Koh Ker bear solar motifs, celestial symbols, or reliefs depicting royal processions in the heavens, further reinforcing the idea that this was once an ancient observatory or a unique center for cosmic observation of the ancient Khmer. The alignment of the structure to astronomical cycles demonstrates a level of calculation planning and scientific understanding far beyond what we might imagine for a society solely dedicated to temple construction. There is also a more pragmatic view that the Koh Ker Pyramid was the ultimate symbol of power for King Jayavarman IV, a king who suddenly moved the capital from Angkor deep into the jungle, constructed a pyramid utterly unlike any Khmer tradition, and crowned it with the largest deity statue at its peak. All of this could have been a message proclaiming absolute power, demonstrating a will to establish a new order in religion, politics, and architecture, especially in an era when the Khmer throne was rife with conflict. The very act of building a structure like no other standing tall in the heart of the forest is a powerful testament to the will and boldness of this maverick king. If this is the case, Koh Ker was truly a pyramid of power, both a spiritual fortress and an unspoken challenge to political rivals of the time. In addition, there are even bolder theories about the function of Koh Ker. Some believe that it was a national treasury storing gold jewels and great secrets never revealed. Others speculate that it is the secret tomb of Khmer kings, or even a gateway to the underworld, where dark sacrificial rituals took place. Yet to this day, there is no archaeological evidence to confirm any of these theories, as most of the pyramid's underground structure remains unexplored. Finally, another great mystery of Koh Ker lies in its construction techniques themselves. How could people of the past transport and stack tens of thousands of massive stone blocks, creating a colossal pyramid with nearly perfect precision in the middle of the jungle, without the aid of any modern machinery? Such questions have sparked endless debates about the technical prowess, workforce coordination, and even the lost building secrets of the ancient Khmer. Koh Ker's mysteries don't end with the pyramid's function. The summit once held a colossal statue of Shiva, the largest in Southeast Asia, now completely vanished. Other deity statues with unusual styles, enigmatic reliefs, unexplored tunnels, and hidden chambers underground all contribute to the curse of unanswered riddles surrounding this place. Furthermore, the city's rapid disappearance, once a dazzling capital for just over 20 years, then swallowed by the forest for centuries, remains a major historical question in Southeast Asia. No one knows exactly why Jayavarman IV's dynasty collapsed so quickly, or why his legacy was erased from collective memory for nearly 1,000 years. Despite numerous archaeological studies and the application of modern technologies such as 3D scanning and ground-penetrating radar, the mystery of the Koh Ker Pyramid remains ultimately unsolved. New discoveries often only deepen the shroud of mystery, rather than revealing the true heart of this monument. The pyramid's real function, whether it was a temple for deities, an astronomical observatory, a ceremonial center, a symbol of power, or even a gateway to the cosmos, remains an open question, with many intriguing yet still unconvincing theories. Even its architectural style and location continue to puzzle scientists. Why did the ancients choose such a distinctive stepped pyramid design? Why does the structure's axis deviate from tradition? What exactly lies hidden beneath those ancient layers of stone? Moreover, the loss of relics such as deity statues, reliefs, or precious artifacts makes us wonder, could ancient civilizations have possessed a much deeper understanding of astronomy and the cosmos than we imagine, and are those secrets still waiting to be unlocked in the heart of Cambodia's jungles? Koh Ker Pyramid is among the few monuments in Southeast Asia where every stone contains secrets. If Angkor Wat is the symbol of Khmer grandeur and permanence, Koh Ker is the shadow filled with questions history isn't ready to answer. In an age where technology can scan every layer of Earth and reconstruct the past digitally, Koh Ker still preserves its spirit of mystery, captivating scientists, historians, and even those who love the wildest, most unconventional theories. Koh Ker Pyramid is not just an ancient monument, but also a symbol of the limits of human knowledge when faced with a mysterious past. The true function of this pyramid remains a major question. Was it a meeting point between heaven and earth, an ancient observatory, or a unique ceremonial center? Every step on Koh Ker's staircase is a journey into the labyrinth of history, where each answer leads to new questions, reminding us that some secrets will always belong to time. In the remote Shangkoang Plateau, where mist shrouds the undulating hills of Laos, there lies a strange monument that leaves any visitor in awe. Thousands of giant stone jars standing solitary amidst grassy fields, scattered across dozens of different sites. This is the Plain of Jars, one of the greatest archaeological mysteries of Southeast Asia and the world. Each jar weighs from hundreds of kilograms to several tons, stands from 1 to over 3 meters tall, carved from solid stone, and scattered like silent gatekeepers of a vanished civilization. What makes this place so special, causing archaeologists, historians, and explorers to debate for more than a century? The answer lies in the true purpose of these jars, the greatest mystery, one that has never been satisfactorily solved. What do you think these giant stone jars were really used for? Share your theories or thoughts in the comments section below. The Plain of Jars is not a single location, but a collective name for more than 90 groups of jars scattered across the plateau. It is estimated there are more than 2,500 jars of various sizes, placed in sometimes very strange locations on hillsides, in valley bottoms, and even atop rugged peaks, far from any source of stone. What astonishes many is the technique used to create these jars. They were meticulously hollowed out from blocks of sandstone granite and sometimes limestone rocks that are extremely hard and difficult to quarry and transport. Many jars have perfectly round mouths, walls, tens of centimeters thick, and smooth outer surfaces, even though the tools used were primitive. Some jars even have stone lids bases or strange decorative marks. So with what technology, manpower, and purpose did an ancient civilization create these silent monuments? Radiocarbon analysis shows that many jars have existed for 2,000 to 2,500 years, dating to the late Iron Age. However, there are no written records nor any inscriptions on the stone that indicate who achieved this feat. Lao folklore tells many fantastic tales that the jars were used to ferment rice wine to celebrate the victory of a giant king, or to contain the ashes and bones of revered people. Some elders believe each jar is linked to the spirit of a fallen warrior or chieftain. Yet as fascinating as legends are, they cannot replace archaeological facts. Modern discoveries of human bones, pottery, shards, beads, and stone tools around some jars have led to more scientific theories, but also plenty of contradictions and uncertainty. The true function of the plane of jars lies at the heart of every debate, and is also the reason why it remains one of the world's most persistent archaeological mysteries. The hypothesis most widely supported by archaeologists suggests that these stone jars once played a role in the funerary rituals of an ancient society, where the dead were placed inside the jars or buried nearby, undergoing both primary and secondary burial processes. Some jars have revealed human bones, teeth pottery fragments, and stone tools, almost like repositories for souls, indicating a strong belief in the afterlife and a deep connection with ancestors. However, if we view the plane of jars solely as an ancient cemetery, we may be limiting our own understanding, since not every jar contains traces of human remains. Another theory proposes that the jars were used as water storage for travelers passing along ancient routes across the arid plateau, especially during the rainy season. But this idea lacks concrete evidence for any water collection or preservation system. There are also opinions that the jars were used for fermenting wine, preserving food, or serving ceremonial purposes during large-scale festivals, based on local legends and some chemical traces found on the jars, turning them into symbols of abundance and spiritual power for the community. Additionally, the arrangement of some jars in circles, straight lines, or oriented towards significant geographical points has raised suspicions that the plane of jars could have served as a ceremonial, astronomical, or social space, much like a Stonehenge of Southeast Asia, although there is still not enough solid evidence to confirm this. Ironically, the more that is excavated, the more clues are found, yet no single theory can fully explain the thousands of jars with their varied sizes, locations, and ages. Perhaps the ancients left behind a message we are not yet able to decipher, or perhaps our modern way of thinking is unintentionally oversimplifying a system of beliefs and functions that is far more complex than we imagine. The plane of jars is not only mysterious in terms of archaeology, it also bears the scars of modern tragedy. This region was heavily bombed during the Laotian War. Many jar sites are still cordoned off inaccessible due to the danger of unexploded ordnance. Research, excavation, and preservation are therefore extremely risky. Thousands of jars have been destroyed or damaged by the destructive power of war. From this perspective, the plane of jars is not just an ancient riddle, but also a symbol of what humanity has gained and lost, a memory of a once glorious civilization and a wound inflicted by modern conflict. In 2019, UNESCO recognized the plane of jars as a World Heritage Site, emphasizing its importance to human history. But beyond a title, this place is a reminder of humility in the face of the unknown, of the need to keep exploring, preserving and deciphering the mysteries of our ancestors. Perhaps the Plain of Jars will never fully reveal its true purpose, but it is precisely this mystery that gives it endless appeal, prompting every generation to keep asking, what is gained, what is lost, when standing before the legacy of the ancients. Plain of Jars is one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries. Each jar is a question mark about the strength, technique, beliefs, and culture of ancient people. Above all, their true function remains an unopened door, leaving future generations both in awe and regret. We have gained an invaluable heritage, but have also lost the key to fully understanding it. Hidden deep beneath the earth for millennia, in the heart of modern China, lies a colossal labyrinth that history has never mentioned. There are no ancient records, no legends, no trace of the people who created the Longyou Caves, a construction that has baffled scientists worldwide. Despite the efforts of archaeologists to decode its secrets, the true purpose of these magnificent caves remains a mystery, never revealed, giving rise to countless thrilling theories and a lingering sense of unease about just how much of our past humanity still does not understand. What do you think the real purpose of the Longyou Caves was? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In 1992, in a small rural area of Longyou County, Zhejiang Province, some local villagers, while pumping water from their village pond, accidentally discovered a massive man-made space beneath the deep water with smooth stone walls and grand staircases descending into the earth. This event sparked a large-scale excavation and research campaign, turning the Longyou Caves into an international subject of debate. More than 24 artificial caves connected to each other were discovered, each cave reaching depths of up to 30 meters, with floor areas measuring thousands of square meters. In total, this system covers over 30,000 square meters, equivalent to a vast underground city carved out of millions of cubic meters of hard sandstone. Looking at the structure of the Longyou Caves, anyone must admit that this is not the work of a small group, nor could it be the result of ordinary agricultural or mining activities. The walls, ceilings, and columns are all smoothly carved, covered with parallel chiseled lines, as if they were carefully pre-designed and executed by skilled artisans to a uniform standard, with no discrepancies between the caves. No traces of modern construction tools have been found, nor any cracks, rubble, or leftover stones inside or outside the caves, completely unlike any other ancient structures known worldwide. It is estimated that the total volume of stone excavated exceeds 1 million cubic meters, equivalent to hundreds of thousands of tons of material, yet there is absolutely no sign of spoil heaps, waste, or any construction debris nearby. The mystery does not end with the construction methods. For thousands of years, there has not been a single historical document in China mentioning the building or existence of this cave system. Even the most detailed chronicles, which often record even the smallest events, are completely silent on the Longyou Caves. This creates a major gap in human understanding. Who built these caves? What era did they live in? For what purpose? Scientists have tried to date the caves by examining artifacts, analyzing marks on the stone, and sampling the sediment within, but all results are ambiguous and cannot confirm the exact period of construction. Some theories suggest the Longyou Caves might have originated during the Qin or Han dynasties, but there is no widely accepted concrete evidence. Even if the unusual features in construction techniques or organizational capability can be tentatively explained by theories about an advanced civilization or an unrecorded historical period. The biggest question about the Longyou Caves, the true function of this immense cave system, remains an unsolved mystery. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids, which were built as tombs for pharaohs, or the underground cities of Cappadocia, which served as wartime refuges, Longyou Caves show no traces of human remains, ancient tombs, or burial objects. In fact, archaeologists have also found no evidence of everyday household items, production tools, agricultural implements, or daily utensils. The large stone platforms appearing in some caves have forms resembling altars or water basins, but their shapes do not match those of typical tombs, storerooms, or military structures. Even more noteworthy, the interior spaces of the caves show no evidence of regular human activity. Elements that would be essential for long-term habitation or use, such as signs of fire or kitchens, are completely absent. The walls and ceilings retain an oddly smooth finish, with no traces of smoke, ash, or soot, as commonly seen in other ancient caves. This makes the theory of a once-inhabited underground city thriving through generations hard to accept. Another feature that further increases the mystery is the strange isolation of the Longyou Caves structure. Each cave is like a separate world, with no tunnels or secret passages connecting them. This contradicts classic defensive or refuge logic, which typically involves networks of passageways for movement or safety. The caves of Longyou sit beside one another but are completely independent, each one a large enclosed chamber with only a single entrance and no exits in any other direction. Because of these peculiar features, a range of hypotheses about the function of Longyou Caves has been put forward, from practical to fantastic. Some suggest the caves were built as large-scale shelters to cope with natural disasters, great floods, wars, or social upheaval. Others believe they were religious ceremonial centers, where mysterious rites of a lost faith were performed, complete with stone platforms as sacrificial tables and steps leading to sacred zones, yet no symbols, writings, murals, or religious artifacts have been found. Some technical experts even speculate that these were sites for technological experimentation, secret workshops or vaults for records, weapons, or valuables of some ancient dynasty, but all archaeological evidence fails to support these theories. Even the small details in each cave add further confusion regarding the function of Longyou Caves. The walls and ceilings are entirely covered with uniform, fish scale-like parallel carvings spanning every surface without any apparent decorative or linguistic meaning. Some caves feature large stone platforms protruding into the center of the room, resembling a stage altar or sacrificial pedestal, yet there is no trace of worship or related items. Remarkably, all the caves are situated below the natural groundwater level, but have remained dry for thousands of years, thanks to some waterproofing technique that scientists have yet to explain. Groundwater simply does not seep into the caves at all. What astonishes scientists is the near-perfect uniformity among the caves, even though their sizes differ. All have the same design-style arrangement of columns, ceilings, steps, entrances, and wall carvings almost identical, as if one group of people with a master blueprint constructed all the caves in a short period with extremely strict organizational processes. This raises suspicion of a lost civilization or a dynasty with technical and managerial prowess far ahead of its time. No records, no artifacts, no scripts, no local legends. The existence of the Longyou Caves is a giant question mark in Chinese history, a land where even the smallest battles or political upheavals were meticulously documented. How could a structure of such superhuman scale have no mention whatsoever in the historical annals. Was it built by a culture that was entirely wiped out, or was its construction so secretive that all evidence and memory were deliberately erased? It is precisely these unresolved mysteries that have turned the Longyou Caves into fertile ground for countless theories ranging from academic speculation to mystical ideas. Some researchers connect the Longyou Caves to lost civilizations, like Atlantis, Mu, or Lemuria, suggesting that this place could be the remnants of a culture that disappeared without a trace. Other theories claim that the caves were built by extraterrestrials, arguing that the level of engineering and the true purpose of the Longyou Caves are beyond the capabilities of ancient humans and may actually be the legacy of visitors from beyond Earth. Some people even believe that the caves are hiding technological treasures or once served as secret workshops for an advanced science far ahead of its time. However, none of these theories have been substantiated with concrete evidence, and this only adds to the allure and mystery of the Longyou Caves, making them an endless source of inspiration for cinema novels and works of science fiction. It can be said that the greatest mystery of the Longyou Caves does not lie in their construction techniques, nor simply in their timeless architectural achievement, but in the question, why did humans create this structure? What purpose was so great and so important that so much labor resources and intellect were poured into building such a silent and mysterious underground city? While the answer still lies buried in the earth, the Longyou Caves remain a reminder of the dark spaces in the history of human evolution, of things we think we know but truly do not understand, and a motivation for future generations to keep searching and exploring. In the quiet highlands of West Java, Indonesia, there stands a strange hill shrouded in forest and mist, Gunung Padang. To most of the world, this name may be unfamiliar, but to archaeologists, it is one of the most mysterious and controversial sites on the planet. Not only is it the largest stone structure in Southeast Asia, Gunung Padang has been compared by international scholars to the Giza Pyramid of Indonesia, and possibly much older. More importantly, it raises profound questions about the origins, function, and intelligence of our ancient ancestors. What do you think about this mystery? Is Gunung Padang truly the remnant of a lost civilization, or just an ordinary archaeological site? Share your thoughts in the comments below. At first glance, Gunung Padang seems like an ordinary hill with stone terraces blanketed in moss and lichen. But since the 1970s, preliminary surveys have revealed millions of hexagonal basalt columns layered on top of one another, stretching across more than 3 hectares, and forming a colossal, man-made stepped complex. The site rises 100 meters tall, with terraces, unnaturally flat stone rows, forming rectangles, corridors, and small rooms, all unmistakably artificial. The true shockwaves began in 2011 when a team led by Dr. Danny Hillman, Natawidjaya, Indonesian Institute of Sciences, conducted advanced geophysical studies. Gunung Padang does not consist of a single structure, but rather a sandwich of multiple human-made layers, each with its own age, construction, and secrets. One of the reasons Gunung Padang is at the center of heated debate is the radiocarbon dating carbon-14 results, which suggest the deepest layers could be 20,000 years old, almost twice the age of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, previously thought to be the world's oldest human-made structure. If true, this would mean Gunung Padang is evidence of an incredibly advanced civilization that existed at the end of the last ice age, a time when, according to the official history textbooks, humans were still hunter-gatherers and had not yet invented agriculture. However, this age remains fiercely disputed. Some scientists from Indonesia, Australia, the United States, and beyond argue that the samples were contaminated or only represent the age of the soil, not the structure itself. Nevertheless, evidence from stratigraphy, multi-layered construction, and signs of human intervention are undeniable. The true function of Gunung Padang remains one of the greatest mysteries, standing at the center of ongoing controversy, speculation, and curiosity across generations. Many traditional archaeologists believe that Gunung Padang may have served as a major ceremonial center for prehistoric communities, much like Stonehenge in England or the pyramids of Egypt. Its terraces, corridors, and stone chambers could have been used for ritual offerings, worship of deities and ancestors, or large communal ceremonies activities that helped bind society together and maintain social order from the earliest days. Remarkably, the basalt columns at Gunung Padang were not locally sourced, but transported from distant locations and arranged with great precision, with many blocks weighing several tons. This reflects an extraordinary ability to mobilize labor and organize society far exceeding what is typically assumed for prehistoric times. Beyond that, many experts have questioned why such a massive structure would be built atop a high mountain, with its layout intentionally aligned to certain geographic or astronomical positions. Some of the terraces and pathways at Gunung Padang are believed to relate to celestial phenomena, such as the rising and setting of the sun on special days or the observation of important stars. This has given rise to the theory that the site might have been an ancient astronomical observatory or a center for storing knowledge about time seasons and the universe for prehistoric people. Additionally, some researchers lean toward the idea that Gunung Padang was a secret refuge, perhaps even a shelter against natural disasters like a great flood. The site's multiple architectural layers, deep underground chambers, thick stone walls, and mountaintop location all lend weight to the notion that it could be the last remnant of a civilization erased by a global cataclysm. Even more boldly, some theories suggest that Gunung Padang once functioned as an ancient energy machine. Certain scientists have detected unusual electromagnetic and magnetic fields at the site, similar to those found at other mysterious hotspots around the world. The arrangement of magnetic mineral-rich basalt columns, combined with complex underground chambers and passages, may have created natural energy channels drawing in or emitting energy for purposes yet unknown, such as healing, spiritual rituals, or communication. Although no definitive evidence exists, geophysical and electromagnetic measurements have consistently recorded anomalies that modern science still cannot fully explain. Another intriguing theory is that Gunung Padang could conceal a system of treasure knowledge or important relics from a lost civilization. The tunnels and underground chambers that have yet to be excavated remain the subject of widespread speculation. This may be a hidden archive protecting knowledge or treasures from catastrophic events in the past. The Indonesian government's strict control over excavation and research has only deepened suspicion about major secrets buried beneath Gunung Padang. Finally, given its scale and construction techniques far surpassing other contemporary structures, Gunung Padang could also have served as a symbol of power for an ancient community or ruler. It may have been built to assert dominance, impress surrounding groups, or control a vast territory. Nowhere else in the modern world do battles between archaeological, geological, and historical schools of thought rage as fiercely as over Gunung Padang. On one side stand orthodox scientists insisting the site is only 2,000 to 5,000 years old and that all claims of extreme antiquity are erroneous. On the other, reformist geologists and archaeologists base their arguments on experimental results and advanced geophysical techniques, contending that Gunung Padang exceeds all prior understanding. International media, independent researchers, and even organizations searching for lost civilizations all converge on this place. The Indonesian government both supports research and tightly restricts excavation to prevent damage or loss of control over information. One of the most remarkable aspects of Gunung Padang is its extraordinary construction technique. The site is composed of millions of polygonal basalt columns meticulously arranged in multiple layers, with each layer displaying its own distinct architectural style. Beneath the surface, networks of tunnels and underground chambers remain largely unexplored, hinting at further hidden complexities. Stratigraphic analysis has revealed at least 4 separate architectural levels, each characterized by unique materials and construction methods, suggesting that the site was built, renovated, and expanded over thousands of years, possibly by a succession of different cultures. The immense task of transporting and assembling millions of heavy stone blocks to create terraces, level floors, and perfectly squared walls speaks to an incredibly advanced level of social organization and technical knowledge, far surpassing anything previously documented in prehistoric Southeast Asia. Beneath the ground of Gunung Padang still lies a multitude of mysteries that modern science has yet to unravel. Ground-penetrating radar surveys and geophysical analyses have revealed the existence of many voids and tunnels connecting the architectural layers beneath the site. However, most of these remain unexcavated due to concerns over possible collapse or damage to the integrity of the structure. Beyond that, measurements have also detected numerous unusual electromagnetic phenomena in the area surrounding Gunung Padang. This has led some researchers and mystery enthusiasts to believe that the site possesses a special source of energy, perhaps even serving as one of the Earth's energy nodes. Up to now, no hypothesis regarding the origin or true function of Gunung Padang has been fully confirmed or proven, and each new discovery continues to fuel even greater debates about the secrets this monument still conceals. If ongoing geophysical, stratigraphic, and archaeological studies continue to support the 10 to 20,000 year age and multi-layered complex functions of Gunung Padang, this site could become the most compelling evidence yet for an advanced civilization predating all known great civilizations. It might force humanity to rewrite history, opening a new chapter about a forgotten golden age, a time when our ancestors possessed knowledge, organization, and technology far beyond what we have imagined. But even if Gunung Padang is simply an exaggeration of modern imagination, the curiosity and passion for unlocking mysteries show that humanity has never lost its urge to explore its own past. And every unsolved enigma, like Gunung Padang, will remain an endless source of inspiration for science, history, and dreamers alike. Gunung Padang is both the ultimate riddle and an academic battleground where every question about the origins, purpose, and functions of prehistoric civilizations still hangs in the air. Its mysterious function, from ritual center to astronomical observatory to refuge to energy machine to vault of knowledge, lies at the core of all fascination and debate. Whatever the truth may be, Gunung Padang remains one of the greatest archaeological mysteries of the 21st century, challenging every limit of human understanding. There are lands where history leaves no trace, only unanswered questions lingering amidst untamed nature. Hidden deep within the valleys of Sulawesi Island, Indonesia, the Bada Valley megaliths stand as a challenge to every modern researcher. These are not massive pyramids, nor are they towering statues gazing out to sea. Instead, over 400 strangely shaped stones lie silently among the trees, meadows, and underground streams, standing watch for thousands of years, bearing witness to the changing tides of humanity. No one knows who truly created these works, nor has any civilization left a clue about their purpose, technique, or meaning. All we know is that the more we explore, the more we become fascinated and haunted by a single question. How, by what means, were ancient people able to create such colossal stones with craftsmanship so exquisite it surpasses even the imagination of our modern age? In your opinion, what tools or techniques might ancient people have used to create these massive and intricate stone structures? Share your theories or thoughts in the comments section below. In Bada Valley, granite and other hard stones were carved into human shapes, faces, abstract forms, or stone pillars ranging from 30 centimeters to over 4 meters tall, weighing anywhere from several hundred kilograms to multiple tons. Many statues display bizarre faces, large round eyes, a straight nose, a small mouth, and sometimes lack a clearly defined torso. Others are simply polished stone columns with faint, mysterious carvings or unusual oval shapes, or depict creatures beyond the imagination of modern people. The most astonishing thing is, nowhere else in the world features such a style of stone sculpture, not solemn like Egypt, not monumental like Easter Island, but a blend of ceremonial purpose and radical abstraction. Even the local people have no idea who created them. For generations, tales have been handed down that they are the work of the ancients or incarnations of ancient spirits. Based on archaeological traces and surrounding artifacts, scientists estimate that these stone statues may have been created 3,000 to 5,000 years ago during a time when technology was still extremely primitive. However, there are no surviving documents, records, or written symbols explaining their appearance. No legends detail the process of their construction. Everything is shrouded in mysterious stories and vague references to gods. People turn to stone or supernatural rituals. In fact, scholars still cannot agree on the real creators of these works. Were they made by an extinct local culture, or are they remnants of a lost prehistoric civilization that has never been identified? This is precisely the aspect that leaves every researcher both astonished and perplexed. The megalithic statues of Bada Valley are primarily carved from granite, a type of stone that is extremely hard with durability and density, far surpassing that of ordinary rocks. Even more remarkable, the valley and its surrounding areas have no natural granite quarries at all, raising an unanswered question. Where did ancient people obtain the stone, and how could they transport such massive blocks, sometimes weighing several tons, across treacherous mountains, dense jungles, rivers, and swamps? Just moving the stone alone would have been an almost unimaginable challenge. Yet what truly baffles modern experts lies in the techniques of carving, shaping, and polishing these statues. The surfaces of many statues are nearly mirror smooth, their carved details incredibly sharp, the deep grooves even and consistent without the cracks or breaks typical of primitive stone tools. The edges are uniformly beveled and flawless, and many surfaces show signs of having been meticulously ground and polished, giving the impression that they were finished with metal tools or perhaps with a technology previously unknown in the region's history. Some statues feature small holes, hollowed sockets, or grooves running along their bodies, executed with astonishing precision, believed to have served ritual purposes or to be associated with ancient ceremonies. Notably, many of the human-shaped statues show only the head and upper torso with no legs. The face's eyes and features are rendered in the simplest of forms, yet still manage to convey a striking emotional quality that is difficult to explain. The mystery goes beyond shaping techniques. Researchers have also discovered traces of joining between stone blocks, as if the ancients had mastered assembly construction or even repeated modification, yet there are absolutely no visible seams or crude cut marks. When compared to other renowned ancient monuments worldwide, the craftsmanship of Bada Valley maintains its own unmistakable style, transcending what is known about tools, technology, and material science in Southeast Asia from that era. Many theories have been proposed, from the use of extremely sharp stone tools to the appearance of master craftsmen with exceptional knowledge or even assistance from extraterrestrial civilizations. But none provide a truly convincing explanation. Reconstruction experiments have shown to create such a smooth, deeply carved granite statue, modern people need many months with specialized tools and stone-cutting machines. In prehistoric times, this would have been virtually impossible. The Bada Valley statues are not arranged in lines or grouped as temple complexes, but scattered isolated among forests, beside streams, or in small fields. Some clusters of statues gather into mini-groups like ritual sites, others stand alone in the wild. No one understands the logic of this arrangement. Perhaps these are energy points, spiritual axes, or sites chosen for astronomy, faith, or some forgotten purpose. Many statues lie toppled, partly buried in earth, or covered with moss, as if abandoned after great upheavals. This adds to the feeling of being hidden, like a secret message from the ancients left for future generations. Not just scientists, but the Toraja law and other local ethnic groups around Bada Valley also avoid disturbing many of these statues. They consider them sacred beings, dwelling places of ancient spirits, or people punished by the gods and turned to stone forever. Many stories tell of statues moving at night, changing position, or emitting strange lights. Some who tried to take small statues home soon suffered misfortune or even mysterious deaths. Certain areas around the larger statues are considered forbidden zones, accessible only to village elders for the purpose of performing ancestral rites. Not a few researchers and archaeology enthusiasts have linked the Bada Valley statues to famous megalithic structures on distant continents, the Moai of Easter Island, the Olmec heads in Central America, Stonehenge in England, the menhirs of Europe. They ask, could there once have been a worldwide network of ancient civilizations with stoneworking skills beyond what we understand today, leaving behind similar traces everywhere? Or is this evidence of parallel but extraordinarily advanced development by separate cultures? Yet there is still no direct connection between Bada Valley and other megalithic sites worldwide, deepening the mystery of this complex's technology, origin, and meaning. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys show that many more statues, megalithic columns, and mysterious stone blocks remain deeply buried, as yet undiscovered. It's entirely possible that the greatest secrets about the craftsmanship, age, and purpose of this site still sleep beneath thousands of years of earth and stone. Bada Valley Megaliths is not just a place, it is a living testimony to the limits of human understanding about the past. An inexplicable technique of stoneworking, mysterious origins, bizarre forms, and even supernatural legends have made this one of the greatest mysteries in Southeast Asia and perhaps the entire world. Will modern science one day unlock the secret of the impossible stone carving techniques at Bada Valley? Or will this place forever remain a challenge for all generations, a reminder that some knowledge, skills, and stories have vanished forever with time? All we know is the deeper we explore, the more we realize how small we are compared to what the ancients once left behind. Amidst the scorching sands and windswept dust of the Tamar Oasis in Saudi Arabia, where time seems to stand still for millennia, there rises a bizarre formation The Naslaa Rock. While most ancient wonders bear the mark of human hands, Naslaa stuns the world with an absurdly perfect cut, splitting a giant stone into two balanced halves, as if someone had used a supernatural blade to slice a line from top to bottom. Tourists, archaeologists, geologists, and seekers of ancient mysteries alike, all who have witnessed Naslaa in person, find it hard to look away from that cut. It is not merely a coincidence of nature. It seems to be a challenge statement sent to humanity's intellect. Do we really understand the history of this Earth? What do you think truly created the mysterious cut on Naslaa Rock? Was it a natural process, ancient technology, or some other mystery we haven't imagined yet? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This massive boulder stands nearly 6 meters tall, about 9 meters long, looming over the desert plain like a monument from outside of time. Yet what makes Naslaa truly special is its vertical cut, perfectly upright, flat, and smooth, as if made by a skillful hand wielding an extremely sophisticated tool. The two halves are separated by only a few centimeters, the surface of the cut silky smooth and utterly straight from top to bottom. Especially striking are the tiny pedestals supporting both stone halves, giving the whole thing a precarious appearance, as if it could topple at any moment. But it has remained standing for thousands of years, undisturbed by sandstorms or time. There are many bizarre rocks in the world, but none has ever displayed such an extraordinary, precise, almost supernatural cut as Naslaa. There are countless theories surrounding the origin of the strange cut on Naslaa Rock, creating an endless debate between science and legend. Some geologists argue that this cut could have formed entirely naturally, originating from physical and chemical weathering processes, such as the expansion and contraction of rock due to drastic temperature differences between day and night, the effects of rare rainfall or organic acids from ancient organisms. Over time, tiny initial cracks could have been worn away by wind and sand, gradually widening into the large cut we see today. However, this theory faces much criticism, as many experts point out that around the world, countless rocks exist in desert regions with similar conditions. Yet nowhere else is there a perfect cut quite like Naslaa's. Furthermore, if this were simply due to natural forces, why is the cut surface so smooth and straight like a ruler's edge, without the jaggedness or distortion typically caused by water flow or twisting forces? This kind of coincidence seems too perfect to be random. When modern science cannot provide a complete explanation, human imagination begins to soar. Quite a few theories suggest that Naslaa is the product of an ancient civilization that possessed stone-cutting technology far beyond our current understanding. Perhaps it involved ultra-hard copper techniques, or even the use of heat pressure or sound waves methods we have yet to fully discover. Many people associate Naslaa with other famous megalithic sites around the world, where giant stones were moved and carved with astonishing precision, such as the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge in England, or Sacsayhuaman in Peru, raising the question, could there be a shared secret that was lost long ago? From an even bolder perspective, some claim that the cut at Naslaa is the handiwork of extraterrestrial intelligence. Numerous researchers of ancient mysteries and non-mainstream scholars suggest that extraordinary marks, like Naslaa's cut, are technological signatures left by aliens or evidence of contact between humans and a more advanced species in the distant past. While this theory is often strongly rejected by mainstream science, it still holds great appeal for the public, as it opens up the possibility that Earth's history has witnessed secret visitations that were never recorded in historical texts. Others attempt to explain the phenomenon by suggesting extreme natural events, arguing that the cut could have been the result of a powerful lightning strike or an earthquake that created a fissure in the rock. However, physicists point out that cuts from lightning typically leave scorch marks or jagged surfaces, while earthquakes cannot produce a flawlessly straight cut through an entire block of stone. Finally, some propose that the cut is the result of millions of years of accumulated stress along a perfectly straight line of weakness in the rock, so that when a small final impact occurred, the entire rock split like a glass sheet that has been scored, only needing a light tap to split in two. Still, for a natural fracture to run the entire length of the rock remaining completely vertical is something that modern science has yet to convincingly explain. Not only famed for its unsolved cut, Naslaa Rock also fascinates archaeologists with its ancient carvings. Many depict horses, humans, strange animal forms, and geometric symbols dating back thousands of years. Scientists believe this is a pictorial library left by prehistoric people who lived or passed through the Tepe region, one of the oldest known inhabited areas of the Arabian Peninsula. Some petroglyphs bear hallmarks of the Thamudic Nabatean or even older cultures. Yet the biggest question remains unanswered. Did they know the true origin of the cut? Or did they too see it as a miracle worthy of immortalizing in legend? Naslaa is situated in a land that once lay at the crossroads of ancient trade routes near major archaeological sites like Qasr al-Ablaq and other prehistoric settlements. Archaeologists have unearthed numerous relics attesting to prehistoric human presence, but none has uncovered any tools, devices, or physical evidence that could explain how the cut was made. The area surrounding Naslaa has no significant underground water sources nor evidence of past water flows that might have carved the stone, further weakening the natural weathering hypothesis. In the community fascinated by ancient mysteries, Naslaa is regarded as a symbol that defies imagination, frequently appearing in the media and on social networks. Every year, many people travel to Tepe just to see this strange cut with their own eyes. Some believe it is a sign of extraordinary intelligence, while others think it is a product of nature or even evidence of a lost civilization or extraterrestrial forces. Numerous geological and archaeological teams have surveyed, measured, and analyzed the rock structure, strata, and environmental conditions around Naslaa. They have used high magnification photography, sampled the stone, and simulated cutting scenarios by computer. While some physical phenomena, such as granite fracturing after extreme heat and cold cycles, or the erosive effects of sand-laden winds, have been observed, all conclusions remain uncertain hypotheses. No theory has convincingly proven itself, nor has anyone been able to replicate such a cut in the field. Thus, Naslaa remains a problem without a solution, forcing each new investigator to concede there are things in the past we are still unprepared to fully decode. More than a geological phenomenon, Naslaa Rock stands as a symbol for the boundaries of human knowledge and the endless drive to explore. Its bizarre cut reminds us that no matter how far modern science and technology advance, Earth still harbors mysteries that challenge human confidence. Perhaps it is the very imperfection of explanation that grants Naslaa its timeless allure. Each person standing before the boulder will form their own theory, a hypothesis based not only on logic, but also on fear, curiosity, and awe for what lies beyond imagination. Not pyramids, not Stonehenge, nor any lost city across the arid sands of Saudi Arabia lie thousands of colossal stone structures with strange shapes, whose true scale and significance have only been recognized by modern humans in recent years. Called Mustatil, these rectangular stone monuments raise enormous questions about a distant past, who built them, for what purpose, and why were they forgotten for millennia. Mustatil is a gateway opening to a new chapter of mysterious civilizations on the Arabian Peninsula, a place where every stone holds a story that has never been told. What do you think these mysterious Mustatil structures were really used for? Who do you believe built them? And why? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Mustatil, which means rectangle in Arabic, is the name given to over 1,600 enigmatic stone structures recently discovered primarily in the Khaybar region, Alula, Harat Khaybar, and surrounding deserts. These structures date back as far as 7,000 years, originating in the Neolithic era, making them older than both the Giza pyramids and the renowned Stonehenge of Europe. Each Mustatil is constructed using two long, parallel walls, connected by shorter walls at each end, forming an elongated rectangle that can reach lengths of over 600 meters. These walls are built entirely of dry, stacked stone, using no adhesive materials, yet have withstood the test of millennia. Remarkably, Mustatils are rarely found in isolation. Instead, they often appear in clusters, situated near ancient water sources or migration routes, suggesting a meticulous consideration of geographical placement by ancient peoples. What astonishes archaeologists first is that the structure of the Mustatil bears no resemblance to any known monument. There are no roofs, no residential chambers, and no signs of long-term habitation or daily life within. Most of the internal space is completely empty, with only a small area known as a sanctuary or temple at one end, where stone piles or evidence of ritual organization are found. No traces of daily life have been discovered in Mustatils, no hearths, no production tools, no water systems, and only rarely a few fragments of broken pottery. The true function of the Mustatil structures remains a major mystery, continuously sparking debate and questions among scientists. Numerous archaeological studies have confirmed that Mustatils are not tombs or collective burial sites like the pyramids or ancient mausoleums elsewhere in the world, since almost no human remains have ever been found within these monuments. Instead, the most abundant finds are animal bones, mainly those of cattle, goats, and sheep. And both fossil and soil analyses indicate that these were not regular dwelling places or ancient food storage sites either. In the small sanctuary areas located at one end of many Mustatils, archaeologists have discovered numerous cattle skulls, horns, and piles of animal bones deliberately arranged, with many bearing traces of burning, suggesting that large-scale sacrificial rituals may have taken place here. In the context of ancient Arabia, where cattle were extremely valuable to local communities living in arid conditions, the gathering and sacrifice of large numbers of precious animals at a single site reflects a powerful collective belief, possibly connected to the worship of cattle gods, rain gods, or rituals meant to pray for abundant harvests. Remarkably, the sheer scale of the Mustatil structures shows that these were not built for the needs of a single family or small clan, but rather served as communal ritual centers for many different groups. They may once have been gathering places for meetings, exchanges, or the establishment of power and status among prehistoric peoples. It's even possible they functioned as holy sites, where nomadic groups held ceremonies at the start of the rainy season or during other important times of the year to strengthen social bonds. In addition, some researchers have proposed that the orientation and arrangement of the Mustatils could be related to astronomical events similar to many other famous prehistoric monuments, though evidence for this remains limited, and most Mustatils do not have a fixed central axis. Furthermore, the clustering of mustatils has led scholars to consider the possibility that they were used to mark territorial claims or boundaries for hunting and grazing among ancient communities. Nevertheless, to this day, there is still no single explanation that has gained full consensus among scientists regarding the true function of the mustatils. It's possible that these monuments combined multiple roles: religious beliefs, social rituals, territorial markers, and perhaps even astronomical observatories. The only certainty is that building and maintaining these enormous stone structures fostered a ritual civilization far more advanced than previous notions of small, loosely organized nomadic societies in Neolithic Arabia. The discovery of mustatils has shaken the archaeological world. If the evidence is correct, these structures are proof of an ancient civilization of extraordinary development with complex social organization, strong collective beliefs, and the capability to build large monuments in one of the world's harshest climates. A still greater question lingers: why did this civilization disappear? There are no written records, no surviving folk legends, and no direct descendants claiming to be the creators of mustatils. Large-scale communal rituals have also vanished from modern Arabian culture. This only deepens the mystery of mustatils, making them a lost piece of human history. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids used for royal burials, Stonehenge astronomical observation, or megalithic monuments in Europe connected with burial or ritual mustatils are a unique case, not attached to any practical or clearly defined purpose. This makes them stand out among countless ancient mysteries and draws increasing attention from archaeologists, historians, and sociologists worldwide. Even to this day, with the remarkable advancements in archaeological technology, the secrets of the mustatil structures remain largely unsolved. Questions persist: who exactly designed and built these vast monuments? What was the precise purpose of the ceremonies and rituals conducted here? Were the mustatils remnants of a primitive shared religion across the Arabian Peninsula, or perhaps gathering places where different groups came together? And above all, why did the construction of these mysterious structures suddenly cease, leaving them to fade into obscurity? These are the enduring enigmas that continue to challenge scientists and inspire curiosity in anyone fascinated by the deep, hidden layers of human history. The mustatil structures stand as vivid testimony that human history harbors chapters still unwritten. They remind us of the creative power, organizational capacity, and the deep faith in mystery and the supernatural of the ancient communities that once lived in the driest lands on Earth. Until these secrets are finally unlocked, mustatils will remain torches, challenging humanity's imagination and patience, reminding us that there is still so much about our own past we do not fully understand. If you've ever thought that ancient Japanese history was just scattered small tribes living primitively in deep forests and rugged mountains, then Sannai Maruyama will completely overturn that notion. Located in Aomori Prefecture, northern Japan, this archaeological site is a mega-settlement of the Jomon period, dating back almost 6,000 years. Not only is its scale astounding, Sannai Maruyama is also one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in East Asia. Who built it? How did they live? And most importantly, why do such advanced structures exist with purposes still undeciphered to this day? What do you think about the mystery of Sannai Maruyama? What do you believe these structures were really built for? Share your thoughts in the comments below. When the first excavations began in 1992, no one expected to discover a complex stretching over more than 38 hectares, almost 60 modern football fields. Sannai Maruyama was a continuously inhabited settlement for more than 1,000 years, from about 3900 BCE to 2300 BCE. In an era when most of humanity still lived in scattered small groups, the Jomon people here developed a highly organized society with a system of dwellings, granaries, garbage pits, cemeteries, wells, and more. Archaeologists here have found hundreds of pit dwellings with some large houses reaching up to 32 meters in length, enormous compared to any other contemporary architecture in Japan. Beyond residential buildings, there are raised granaries, treasure storage rooms, stone tool workshops, and even illogical giant wooden structures like 6 massive pillars arranged in 2 straight rows. These discoveries show that the Jomon people far surpassed the typical hunter-gatherer tribe model usually described in history books. One of the strongest proofs of Sannai Maruyama's extraordinary development is the presence of artifacts from very distant regions. Here, unique pottery, jadeite, amber obsidian, and large shells have been found, their origins traced by scientists to far-off Japanese coasts, Hokkaido Island, and even the Niigata region hundreds of kilometers away. This can only be explained by the existence of complex exchange networks, whether through trade or ceremonial exchanges between different groups. Clearly, Sannai Maruyama society was not closed off, but connected with other communities, establishing a system of material and knowledge exchange and showing the earliest signs of urbanization. If one image could symbolize the mystery of Sannai Maruyama, it would undoubtedly be the cluster of 6 gigantic wooden pillars. These posts were erected in 2 parallel rows, each standing up to 5 meters tall, with diameters of over 1 meter, many times larger than any tree the Jomon could have felled, using stone tools. How did they transport, raise, and arrange these columns? But that's just the physical challenge. The most fascinating question is, why did they build these pillars? Some theories suggest they were the foundation for a massive community hall, a gathering place, communal living space, or storage facility. Others propose they were watchtowers, used for guarding or signaling. But the deeper archaeologists dig, the more they lean toward links to astronomy, religious rituals, or ceremonial activities. Beyond the wooden pillars, the entire layout of Sannai Maruyama is full of mysteries. The dwellings, storage pits, and graves are organized into clear clusters, closely resembling later urban planning models. Some houses are especially large, featuring special stone floors or ventilation holes, hinting at social stratification or specialized functions. For example, a chieftain's residence, a temple, or a workshop. What makes Sannai Maruyama one of the greatest archaeological mysteries of Japan and all of East Asia is the question of the true purpose behind these magnificent structures. The 6 massive wooden pillars, whose scale and construction far exceed any ordinary residential buildings, raise a major question if they were only storage facilities or dwellings. Why did the Jomon people need to build them on such a grand scale? Some researchers suggest that the positions of these pillars may relate to astronomical markers, such as aligning with the sunrise or sunset on special days like the summer and winter solstices, or at seasonally important times for Jomon agriculture and fishing. If these were watchtowers or ceremonial platforms, then why has no trace of matching floors or roofs been found? Beyond that, the intentional arrangement of houses, granaries, cemeteries, and ceremonial structures raises even bigger questions about who orchestrated it all. Who was responsible for such meticulous planning? Was there once a class of leaders or a council of elders with extraordinary authority and intellect? Or is it all a product of religious or astronomical beliefs passed down through generations? The presence of elaborate burials with many precious grave goods also reveals clear social stratification, suggesting the existence of special individuals such as shamans, chiefs, or nobles. Sannai Maruyama also evokes comparisons to many other ancient astronomical monuments around the world, such as Stonehenge in England, Newgrange in Ireland, or sites in the Americas and Egypt, places that all align with significant celestial events like sunrise or sunset on special days. Perhaps this site was also a kind of primordial astronomical center for the Jomon used to track the seasons, determine hunting and harvesting times, or hold New Year transition rituals. In addition, given its large-scale, abundant food stores and community buildings, some theories propose that Sannai Maruyama served as a gathering place for multiple Jomon groups from all over northern Japan, who would come together for festivals, exchange goods, connect their communities, or hold major rituals. This may explain why so many rare items, gemstones, and amber from distant regions are found at the site. It is also possible that this was a place for seasonal ceremonies or sky-earth connection rituals related to sun or nature deities. Although the theories are increasingly diverse to this day, there is still no absolutely definitive evidence to clarify the real purpose of the structures at Sannai Maruyama. It is precisely this mystery that creates the site's unique allure as the big questions remain open, waiting for new archaeological discoveries or more advanced analytical technologies in the future. After more than 1,000 years of continuous development, Sannai Maruyama was suddenly abandoned around 2300 BCE, and to this day, the true reason remains a profound mystery. Some scientists believe that climate change, possibly a brief cold period, natural disasters such as floods or earthquakes, outbreaks of disease, or simply the exhaustion of local resources may have forced the settlement's inhabitants to leave. Other theories suggest the possibility of internal conflict or dramatic shifts in social structure, such as the collapse of leadership or the migration of people to more fertile regions. It is also possible that sweeping changes in religious rituals or the emergence of a new form of social organization prompted the Jomon people to abandon this once sacred site. Sannai Maruyama is not merely an archaeological site. It's a mirror reflecting the development of humanity. Discoveries here prove that the Jomon people were by no means primitive savages as previously assumed. They had building techniques, urban planning, trade networks, social organization, and possibly an understanding of astronomical phenomena far beyond what any scholar expected. Most importantly, the mystery of the structure's purpose, whether a residence, a temple, or an astronomical center, remains the greatest challenge for future generations of archaeologists. This sparks curiosity and inspiration for anyone passionate about ancient history, raising the question, how many hidden civilizations like Sannai Maruyama once existed, flourished, and vanished, and how will their secrets be revealed? Sannai Maruyama mega settlement is an archaeological wonder, both evidence of the Jomon people's remarkable development and a black box of mysteries about techniques, organization, and the true purpose of its structures, whether residential, ceremonial, or an ancient observatory. Until these questions are answered, Sannai Maruyama will remain one of humanity's greatest historical enigmas. Hidden amidst the vast, semi-arid steppes of southern Kazakhstan, not far from today's border with Kyrgyzstan, the Akytas megalithic complex is not just an ordinary ancient ruin, it is a symbol of mysteries that have never been solved regarding the knowledge and construction abilities of ancient civilizations in Central Asia. Some have called this place the Stonehenge of Kazakhstan, but in reality, the scale and complexity of Akytas have left modern archaeologists and engineers astonished, raising profound questions about the surveying skills, architecture, and labor organization of the people who built it thousands of years ago. What do you think is the biggest mystery about Akytas? Do you believe ancient people could really build such a complex with their technology back then? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Spread over more than 3 hectares, Akytas appears as a complex of fortification walls, foundations, underground chambers, courtyards, and corridors interwoven like a massive maze. The main walls of the site stretch nearly 200 meters long, with remaining sections rising several meters high, assembled from hundreds of thousands of giant red sandstone blocks, many weighing from 3 to 50 tons each. What is astonishing is that these blocks are not native to the area. They were transported from quarries dozens of kilometers away, crossing challenging terrains and rolling hills, a feat that tested both human strength and organizational intellect. The overall layout of Akytas is strikingly different from any other ancient structure in the Eurasian steppes. Unlike traditional symmetrical forms, Akytas's walls and corridors are arranged in irregular non-linear shapes with countless sudden turns, deep underground chambers, vast open courtyards, and stairs leading up to high platforms of indeterminate use. This has led researchers to speculate about a unique design, perhaps serving ritual defensive or astronomical purposes that remain unexplained today. While many historical sources claim Akytas was built around the 7th to 9th centuries, associated with the Turkic Sogdian or even early Byzantine or Arab dynasties, the deep foundations and archaeological evidence suggest the site may be much older. Some scholars propose Akytas may have existed since the Neolithic era, or is the legacy of a prehistoric civilization that has vanished from written history. What makes the debate even more mysterious is that no one knows the exact purpose of Akytas. Some theories suggest it was a fortress, others believe it was a royal palace, a monastery, a temple, or a ceremonial center. Some even propose it was an important stop on the ancient Silk Road. Each model has its basis, but none is convincing enough when compared with all of Akytas's architectural features, location scale, and the bizarre manner of its construction. On field surveys, scientists are overwhelmed by Akytas's non-traditional arrangement: underground rooms built deep into the earth, staircases leading up to altar-like stone platforms, wells connecting to natural underground water systems. Notably, some large gates and wall holes appear to be aligned with astronomical phenomena, such as the positions of sunrise and sunset during solstices, mirroring other ancient observatories around the world. Additionally, the open courtyards, curving or L-shaped walls, and unusually winding corridors suggest a comprehensive design with clear intent, not randomly added or expanded over time, as seen in most other ancient sites. What makes Akytas so haunting for researchers around the world is the mystery of its incredibly precise construction and surveying technology. How could ancient people move, cut, and assemble hundreds of thousands of massive stone blocks with such high accuracy, especially when the quarries were located dozens of kilometers away? The transportation of these red sandstone blocks, each weighing tens of tons across long distances and rugged terrain, remains an unanswered question. There is no evidence of large wheels-draft animals or primitive rail systems around Akytas, which rules out the use of traditional methods like those in ancient Egypt. If only human labor was used, it would have required thousands of workers and highly scientific organization. Even more astonishing is the near-perfect fit between the stone blocks. Many of the main walls were assembled without mortar, and in some places, not even a thin sheet of paper could fit between the gaps. Certain sections achieve almost perfect right angles with smooth surfaces and perfectly straight edges, indicating signs of highly advanced surveying technology. Experts who have analyzed the stone cuts have found traces distinct from those made by ordinary metal tools. Some theories suggest that ancient builders may have used secret alloys or fire-water thermal shock methods to split the stone into large, flat slabs, but there is currently no clear evidence to confirm this. Another surprising discovery is the spatial precision in the orientation of Akytas's main structures. Many large gates, staircases, and corridors are aligned with significant astronomical events, such as the winter and summer solstices, or the positions of bright stars at certain times of the year. This suggests that Akytas might have served as a large-scale astronomical observatory or a site for rituals related to the cycles of the sun-moon and constellations in ancient beliefs. Archaeologists have also found evidence of comprehensive master planning. The entire layout follows a system of longitudinal and latitudinal axes, dividing the complex into distinct functional areas, while underground water channels were routed through key points for daily life rituals or defense. All of this was based on extremely precise measurements, nearly impossible to achieve with mere manual experience. Moreover, Akytas boasts a mysterious hydraulic and underground system with a network of wells, deep pits, and corridors directly connected to the region's natural groundwater. These watercourses were routed in a hydraulically logical way, optimizing water resources while avoiding flooding, something that requires geological, hydrological, and engineering knowledge far beyond the ancient standard. Notably, many scholars comparing Akytas with sites like Baalbek in Lebanon, Sacsayhuaman in Peru, or the Egyptian pyramids have noted striking similarities in stone-cutting techniques, the precision of assembly, and pre-planned layouts. However, nowhere has the actual technology used by ancient builders been explained, making Akytas one of the Bermuda Triangles of megalithic archaeology, standing alongside the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. Another great mystery of Akytas is that the complex appears to be perpetually unfinished. Many walls are only partially built, massive stones left scattered with no evidence of roofs or finishing materials. What caused this grand project to suddenly halt? Some suggest war, natural disaster, or even a supernatural event forced all the builders to abandon it, leaving Akytas a ghost city as it is today. Local folklore speaks of the curse of Akytas. Anyone who tries to complete this structure will meet misfortune. Other legends tell of a red city where ancient shamans summoned powers from the earth and sky only to be buried forever under the sands of time when that power spiraled out of control. Today, Akytas remains a subject of major debate among archaeologists and engineers. Although many research teams have used modern equipment to explore the construction secrets of Akytas, the ultra-precise stone assembly and surveying techniques here are still a mystery. This raises the question, do we truly understand the creative abilities of our ancestors, or have we only scratched the surface of a glorious past? Akytas is not only a heritage of Kazakhstan, but also a reminder that the world still holds countless ancient mysteries unsolved, and that humanity's achievements may far surpass anything we have ever imagined. When mentioning Ban Chiang, a humble village in Udon Thani, province northeastern Thailand, most locals only know it as a peaceful land associated with tranquil rice fields and the long-standing history of their ancestors. However, for archaeologists, Ban Chiang holds a major secret powerful enough to overturn conventional perceptions of metallurgical development in Southeast Asia and the wider Asian continent. The story of Ban Chiang is not limited to ancient bronze artifacts or burial mounds, but is a journey in search of answers to one of the greatest mysteries the true origins of metallurgy, who brought these secrets to Southeast Asia, and who do you think brought metallurgy to Banqiang? And how? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In 1966, during a house foundation excavation, a local boy happened to stumble upon a shard of pottery with strange patterns. This event quickly drew the attention of archaeologists, launching a series of large-scale excavations spanning several decades. What they found shocked the world: hundreds of ancient graves, countless pottery items, jewelry, tools, and most notably, bronze artifacts dated to as early as 3,600 years ago, around 1600 BCE. Before this discovery, most scholars believed that Southeast Asia only developed metallurgy after the technology spread from China, India, or other major civilizations, usually much later by thousands of years. But Banqiang's findings upended everything. Bronze bracelets, blades, and spearheads appearing in archaeological layers even older than those in southern China raised an enormous question about the independent emergence of metallurgy in this region. The bronze artifacts at Banqiang are not only ancient, but also display astonishing technological sophistication. The bronze-tin alloys were mixed with remarkable precision, achieving high quality compared to contemporary cultures. Surface traces show mastery of furnace temperature, control ore processing, impurity removal, and casting, all highly professional techniques. In some specimens, there are even signs of quenching to harden the metal, which requires deep material knowledge. Physical-chemical analyses show that some tools possess intricate structures with designs tailored for specific uses, such as farming, hunting, or ritual. This leads to the conclusion: Banqiang was not a primitive civilization, but a complex technological hub with clear occupational differentiation and the ability to mass-produce bronze tools of consistent quality. Alongside bronze artifacts, Banqiang is also famous for ceramics, with spiral motifs, geometric patterns, and warm hues. Many pottery pieces were buried with the dead, suggesting complex funeral rites and a belief in the afterlife. The fact that some children's graves were also buried with exquisite bronze tools hints at a stratified society with inherited power and status. These findings highlight the development of Banqiang society and broaden the question: who possessed, developed, and spread metallurgical technology here? It is precisely the mystery of metallurgical origins that has made Banqiang an anomaly in world history. Countless major questions have arisen, sparking decades of academic debate. The sudden appearance of sophisticated bronze artifacts leads many to wonder if metallurgy in Banqiang was an indigenous invention. It would mean the local community independently developed the entire technological chain, from mining ore and smelting copper to alloying and casting molds, which is extremely rare in human history. However, if this technology was introduced from elsewhere, who brought it here? All the main trade routes at the time were far away, and there is no evidence of large-scale migration from the north or the west. That's not all. Some researchers argue that Banqiang's bronze culture resulted from intercontinental trade and exchange, especially with ancient Chinese civilizations such as Erlitou and Shang, or with groups of artisans from West or Central Asia. Yet field surveys have found no direct signs of hybridization, copying, or any stepwise importation of techniques. On the contrary, Banqiang possesses unique technical hallmarks, from the design of furnaces and casting methods to the style of their objects. Remarkably, modern dating methods even suggest that bronze appeared in Banqiang earlier than in some renowned Chinese metallurgical centers, further raising suspicions about the possibility of transcontinental technology transfer. Regarding theories of technological diffusion, some believe there may once have been nomadic artisan groups who carried metallurgical knowledge across regions. But so far, there is no clear archaeological evidence of mass migrations or mobile smelting camps. What remains points to the Banqiang community possibly sourcing local copper ore, building their own furnaces, and developing alloying techniques on site. Essentially, a technological leap right at this location. Another widely debated factor is the mysterious influence from distant cultures. Certain motifs on Banqiang pottery and bronze artifacts show strange similarities to those of cultures as far away as West Asia or even northern China. Although there is no solid proof of trade routes linking these distant regions, the theory of a prehistoric technological exchange network still receives much attention, and it is not impossible that Banqiang was once a convergence point or even an origin point for a vast chain of technological dissemination across Asia and the Pacific. Before the discoveries at Banqiang, Southeast Asia was often considered a technological backwater, a region slow to absorb metallurgical technology compared to major civilizations. However, the new evidence has entirely overturned this stereotype, forcing the world to rewrite the map of technological history and to recognize the possibility of parallel independent inventions among the world's major cultural centers. Another major issue making Banqiang even more puzzling is the debate over artifact dating and methods of age determination. Some scholars believe the bronze artifacts are actually only several thousand years old, and archaeological layers may have been disturbed by natural factors or human activity. Nevertheless, most modern analyses radiocarbon luminescence still support the theory that Banqiang is among the earliest centers of bronze in the world. This makes Banqiang an academic battlefield, with international research teams constantly arriving, even leading to disputes over ownership, preservation, and recognition as a world heritage. Today, Banqiang is recognized by UNESCO as a World Cultural Heritage Site, attracting tens of thousands of visitors and scholars each year. However, the deeper scientists dig, the more deviations from the norm they discover. Metallurgical slag samples, furnace traces, ceramics, and even ancient DNA in graves continue to leave room for bold hypotheses about prehistoric, cross-continental cultural and technological exchanges. International collaborative projects are now experimenting with micro-analytical technologies, isotope analysis, trace element fingerprinting to identify ore sources and materials in an effort to answer the question: did Banqiang develop metallurgy independently, or did it adopt it from outside? If its indigenous origin is proven, it will be an exceptionally rare case of parallel invention, fundamentally changing how we perceive human technological creativity. Conversely, if evidence of technological integration is found, it will expand the prehistoric trade map to an unprecedented scale. It can be said that Banqiang is a true anomaly, a peaceful land hiding beneath its red earth, evidence of technological brilliance, social stratification, unique art, and above all, the secret of the emergence and diffusion of bronze metallurgy. It is this mysterious origin of metallurgical technology that has made Banqiang a global research focal point and a limitless source of inspiration for all questions about human ingenuity, exchange, and dramatic development in prehistory. Although more than 50 years have passed since its discovery, Banqiang has yet to reveal all of its secrets. New findings, modern technology, and the curiosity of scientists continue to probe the question: who brought metallurgical technology to Southeast Asia, and why did this place get ahead of its time? The mystery of the origins of metallurgy at Banqiang remains unsolved, making it one of the most fascinating enigmas, constantly challenging scientific theories and sparking the imagination of humanity. Across the stormy lands of the Balkans, there once stood a capital city that forced great empires to be wary only to vanish from the world map as if it had never existed. This was Bilazora, the center of the ancient Paeonian kingdom where all traces of humanity power and knowledge seem to have been buried deep beneath cold layers of earth and stone. No one knows exactly who built those towering walls, nor can anyone explain how an entire civilization could disappear, leaving behind only strange stone blocks that challenge every law of physics known at the time. Today, as archaeologists trace the remnants of Bilazora, they are not merely searching for a lost city. They are confronting one of the greatest questions in human history. How could ancient people construct such monumental works without modern technology? And what happened to that once mighty capital that it now survives only as legend amid the wild heart of the Balkans? What do you think really happened to the city of Bilazora and the Paeonian civilization? Share your thoughts or theories in the comments below. From its very geography, Bilazora demonstrated a strategic importance. Few could rival. It controlled the main artery linking the Balkans with ancient Greece. This city was both a shield against northern tribes and a key opening the way for merchants, soldiers, and even invading armies. Despite being drawn into centuries of power struggles, Bilazora endured, constantly expanding and being reinforced, a clear testament to the organizational and construction skills of the Paeonians. Paeonia, the land, and the people who built Bilazora remains a major mystery in human history. Greek and Roman records describe them as brave warriors with developed agriculture and rich mythologies, but traces of their writing are extremely rare. Most of what we know comes from archaeology and oral legends. The sudden disappearance of Bilazora, the capital of mysteries, makes the region even more alluring. When 20th century archaeologists began to awaken Bilazora from its long slumber, they discovered extremely valuable artifacts, ceramics, coins, weapons, and imposing city walls. Especially fascinating are the legends of royal treasures, unopened tombs, and secrets hidden deep beneath the earth, making Bilazora ever more mysterious. Many believe that only a tiny fraction of this capital has been excavated. The rest is still waiting beneath layers of wild earth and stone. What astonishes archaeologists and researchers most when discussing Bilazora is the construction techniques of the Paeonian people, which far surpassed those of many other ancient cities of their time. The city's walls, gates, and defensive structures were built using massive stone blocks, some up to 2 meters long, and weighing several tons, so precisely fitted together that it is nearly impossible to detect any traces of mortar. The joints were crafted with such meticulous care that even the thinnest blade cannot slip through the gaps, creating a structure whose strength defies not only war and earthquakes, but also the ravages of time. Some sections of wall even employ cyclopean masonry, a style of construction using enormous, irregularly shaped stones, similar to the famous sites of Mycenae and Tiryns in Greece, yet bearing distinctly Paeonian characteristics. Many experts believe that the construction methods found here far exceeded the conventional knowledge of neighboring peoples in the same era. One of the greatest mysteries is how the Paeonians could cut, transport, and assemble such massive stones with near-perfect precision without the aid of modern tools. Theories include the use of levers, wooden rollers, the coordinated efforts of skilled craftsmen, and closely guarded secrets passed down through generations. However, archaeological surveys have revealed that some of the cuts at Bilazora are so fine, the corners so perfectly squared, and the surfaces so polished that even modern machinery would be hard-pressed to replicate them. Especially intriguing are sections that bear unusual marks, as if the stones had been subjected to extremely high heat or processed with some unknown technique. Some bold scholars have asked whether the Paeonians once accessed advanced construction knowledge from great civilizations like Egypt, Greece, or Anatolia, or if they themselves invented a lost technology that was far ahead of its time. To this day, this remains a major enigma, placing Bilazora among the most mysterious architectural wonders of the ancient world. Not only remarkable for its above-ground structures, Bilazora also conceals beneath its surface an intricate system of underground sewers, storage chambers, and deep wells, all meticulously reinforced with carefully stacked stones. The city's drainage system was logically designed to prevent flooding, something not every ancient city managed to achieve. Some underground passages used large round stones as lids that could roll along grooves, ensuring both effective protection and easy maintenance. These findings show that the Paeonians were not only adept at building strong fortifications, but also had a deep understanding of hydraulics, wastewater management, and the creation of a stable, sustainable living environment. Moreover, Bilazora's construction techniques reflect strong cross-cultural influences from neighboring civilizations. Certain sections of wall exhibit Macedonian styles, while others show clear local Balkan or Hellenized elements. Nevertheless, Bilazora's overall architecture remains distinctly unique: multi-layered gates, gradually narrowing passageways, sensible zoning of functional areas, and no shortage of defensive traps such as wall niches, hidden steps, or strategic points favoring defenders. This blend has fueled ongoing debates among researchers. Was Bilazora merely a place that borrowed construction techniques from other civilizations? Or was it actually a creative hub, the source and spreader of advanced technologies throughout the region? The archaeological traces remain, but the final answer to the mysteries of Bilazora's construction techniques will likely have to wait for future generations to discover and decode. Besides the astonishing construction, another great enigma of Bilazora is its unexplained disappearance. After Roman conquest, the city was not built over by later civilizations, but slipped into a deep sleep, gradually sinking beneath earth and weeds. No major battle, epidemic, or natural disaster is recorded, just a long, silent fade over centuries. Archaeologists suggest the capital lost its strategic role, the population left, or perhaps some unrecorded event occurred. The royal tombs and treasures of legend remain unfound. Recent Bilazora excavations have revealed many intriguing things, but also raised more questions. Artifacts such as coins, ceramics, weapons, and precisely assembled walls reflect the prosperity, creativity, and strategic vision of ancient people. Archaeologists have also found many signs of trade objects from Greece, the Balkans, even Anatolia, indicating Bilazora was once a crucial link in the ancient international trade network. To this day, Bilazora has only revealed a small fraction of its mysteries. The wall's strange construction techniques, underground works, and buried tunnels remain hidden. Legends of treasure and tombs are still giant questions. Each excavation season brings shocking new finds: stone blocks with impossible cuts, layers of walls stacked in unusual order, and artifacts unlike anything in the nearby Balkans. All this makes Bilazora a forgotten wonder, a technical and power center that once shaped the Balkans but then mysteriously vanished. The biggest question remains: who built Bilazora? What technology did they use? And why did all traces of this civilization disappear within a few generations? Bilazora is not just an archaeological site, but a symbol of history's unsolved mysteries. From its advanced construction, sophisticated defenses, and infrastructure to its mysterious disappearance, the Paeonian capital reminds us of the limits of our understanding before the achievements of the ancients. Each stone, each wall segment, each artifact is like a tiny piece of a grand puzzle that modern people have yet to complete. Perhaps it will be a long time before the true secrets of Bilazora and its extraordinary construction techniques are fully revealed in the light of history. Amidst the flooded plains of southern Vietnam more than 2,000 years ago, an enormous canal system once existed and flourished, connecting dozens of ancient cities, settlements, and bustling trade centers of the Eo Funan civilization. What remains today, even though much has been buried under layers of silt and reshaped by millennia of change, is enough to astonish the international archaeological community. What makes the Eo Canal Network surpass all contemporary structures, even those in renowned civilizations like Mesopotamia or India, is the enduring mystery of its construction technology. How are they able to excavate, plan, and maintain a vast, perfectly straight network of canals stretching across waterlogged deltas with such breathtaking accuracy? In your opinion, what was the real secret behind the ancient engineers' ability to build such straight and precise canals? Share your own theories or thoughts about how the Eo people planned and built these super canals in the comments below. With hundreds of kilometers of canals, some as wide as 40 meters and as deep as 2 to 5 meters, the Eo Canal Network forms a living map of commerce, irrigation, and community life. From the OCEO center, major canals radiate outward like the spokes of a wheel, linking cities, docks, workshops, and agricultural areas. Even more importantly, many main canals have been found to extend straight toward river mouths and large seaports, opening corridors to the Gulf of Thailand and the Indian Ocean. This network not only served irrigation and flood control, but was also a highway for transporting goods, the economic lifeblood of the entire civilization. Today, when scientists use satellite imagery, LiDAR, and field archaeology to track the buried stretches of these canals, they notice a strange phenomenon. Most of the canals run perfectly straight, not winding with the natural terrain, as if someone drew them with a ruler across the delta. At some locations, canals intersect at almost exact right angles, forming grid-like zones, something extremely rare in ancient civilizations where surveying and determining direction was nearly impossible without modern technology. With today's technology, people must use GPS devices, theodolites, and lasers to survey and excavate perfectly straight canals across waterlogged deltas. Yet the Eo people did this 2,000 years ago with what exactly? That's a question that has never been satisfactorily answered. When researchers examined prominent canal sections, such as Takiet Nang Mao and Seo Quit, they discovered that from the starting point to the end, even over stretches of dozens of kilometers, the directional error was only a few meters, an accuracy equivalent to standards in modern engineering works from the early 20th century. This raises a host of profound mysteries. How could ancient inhabitants possibly survey and maintain such long canals in perfect straightness, especially given that the flooded terrain of the southwestern delta made it extremely difficult to determine direction by sight, alone made even more challenging when visibility was blocked by dense forests, fog, or water covering the land year-round? If they used only wooden stakes, ropes, or simple ground markers, could they truly ensure a perfectly straight path for tens of kilometers and still create intersections at such precise right angles with other canals? Some scholars suggest that the Eo Canal Network bears traces of astronomical knowledge. Many of the major canals run exactly along east-west or north-south axes, or coincide with the direction of the sunrise and sunset on special days such as the summer and winter solstices. Is it possible that the Eo people used tools based on the position of the sun, the stars, or primitive observational devices to align their canal digging, enabling them to achieve such extraordinary precision? Another question concerns how they organized labor for construction. Excavating a straight canal, stretching dozens of kilometers, would require mobilizing thousands of people working simultaneously with highly sophisticated methods for communication and coordination. Without modern maps, zoning diagrams, or progress monitoring tools, errors would inevitably accumulate with each segment. And yet, in reality, the Eo canals have managed to retain their remarkable neatness and precision up to the present day. Some researchers believe that the orientation of the major canals at Eo often aligns in remarkable ways with natural phenomena, such as matching the direction of the monsoon winds or natural water currents, or being based on natural landmarks like mountain peaks, sandbanks, and major riverbanks to determine the route of the canal. At the same time, it is possible that they used the shadow of the sun, bamboo stalks, or pillars to find direction and take measurements over time. Although no specific artifacts have been found, many theories suggest that the Eo inhabitants used survey stakes, large wooden poles driven along the intended canal line, combined with ropes or even smoke and fire signals at night to maintain a straight path. This method, while seemingly simple, would have required patience and continuous checking for errors, especially in environments with rising and falling water mud or thick grass obstructing the view. In addition, certain patterns on bas-reliefs or pottery, such as semicircular rulers and angle markers, are considered hints of primitive measuring tools used to determine direction or check right angles, ensuring the accuracy of the canal grid system. Furthermore, some scholars hypothesize that the Eo people may have recorded canal routes, intersections, or special locations on clay maps or wooden boards, or passed down their expertise orally through generations of craftsmen and village leaders. But so far, no definitive maps or documentation have been found to confirm these theories. Unlike most ancient canal systems around the world, which tend to meander gently along rivers, streams, or follow the natural terrain, the Eo canals often cut straight across the plains, seemingly unaffected by geography, dividing the land into a regular grid, reminiscent of a checkerboard, an approach that reflects a modern planning mindset focused on straight lines and right angles. This method not only optimized the land area for irrigation, but also created ideal conditions for water transport and enabled effective control over vast territories. Notably, many canal intersections developed into major centers of ancient urban life, where trade harbors, temples, and even religious ceremonies converged, demonstrating an urban philosophy that made canals the axes and towns, the hubs serving production, transportation, social organization, and community belief systems all at once. Modern surveys further underscore the sophistication of this network, despite thousands of years of geological change, flooding, and sedimentation. Many canal stretches, when measured against standard axes, show deviations of only a few meters, even over lengths of 20 to 30 kilometers. They have retained near-perfect accuracy, an achievement that astonishes even modern engineers today. The mystery of the construction techniques and the remarkably precise surveying ability of the Eo Canal Network clearly reflects a civilization with an exceptional level of labor organization, where thousands of workers were mobilized and coordinated seamlessly across villages, craftsmen, and leaders, all adhering to strict management and control methods to ensure both progress and the quality of the works. At the same time, this canal system stands as evidence that the Eo people possessed knowledge far ahead of their time in mathematics, astronomy, and hydraulics, enabling them to maintain straight alignments, accurately determine elevations, manage water flow efficiently and effectively, control flooding across the vast delta. Beyond that, the sustainability and environmental adaptability of the Eo Canal system are demonstrated through its role as an intelligent ecological solution, protecting land from saltwater intrusion, retaining water during the dry season, and helping to drain floods in the rainy season, thus contributing to the stability and development of agriculture, the economy, and community life for centuries. To this day, a multitude of unanswered questions still surround the remarkable achievements of the Eo Canal Network, leaving researchers deeply intrigued. Could there still be tools, ancient maps, or documents hidden beneath the layers of silt in this delta region, artifacts that might reveal more of the technical secrets behind the surveying and construction methods of the ancients? Did a now lost secret surveying system ever exist, something akin to the mysterious techniques that once enabled the Egyptians to build the pyramids or the Romans to construct the Colosseum, yet remain unsolved by humanity even now? These mysteries may also be closely intertwined with elements of religion, astronomy, or local legends, where those who took on the task of surveying and building the canals were revered as shamans, priests, or individuals with special knowledge within their communities. Ultimately, the question remains whether these extraordinary technical accomplishments were the result of technological and intellectual exchanges with other great civilizations, such as India, China, or Rome, or if they were, in fact, the wholly independent and indigenous inventions of the Eo people themselves. Although most of the Eo Canal system is now buried, the remaining traces irrefutably testify to a level of technical prowess, organization, and surveying thought far ahead of its time. It laid the foundation for many subsequent irrigation and waterway transport techniques in the Mekong Delta and remains an endless source of inspiration for Vietnamese archaeology and technical history. The Eo Canal Network is not merely a relic, it is a grand puzzle of humanity. How did people living in a watery delta with primitive tools manage to construct and survey with such precision? The mysteries of Eo's construction and surveying technology still await answers from modern scientists, and perhaps beneath the quiet earth of southern Vietnam, even greater secrets remain yet to be revealed. Across the lonely basalt ridges of Kazakhstan, in a landscape that seems ruled only by wind and sand, lies a site that has astonished the world, Tamgali. Hidden within this rugged terrain are thousands of ancient rock carvings, among which the most striking are human figures crowned with radiant sun-like heads. Far more than symbols of mystical belief, these sun-head figures reveal an advanced level of stone craftsmanship, astronomical measurement, and compositional design far beyond their time. After thousands of years, the true purpose, meaning, and techniques behind these carvings remain a profound mystery, continuing to challenge archaeologists and modern science alike. What do you think these sun-head figures really meant to the ancient people of Tamgali? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tamgali, or Tamgali Taz, meaning place of signs/symbols, is located in the Chu Ili semi-desert region on sheer basalt cliffs and dry valleys. Since ancient times, it has become an open-air museum where the ancient people left on stone what they believed, revered, feared, and yearned for about the universe. From wild animals, hunting scenes and rituals, to supernatural symbols, everything was carved with such meticulousness and creativity that even modern archaeologists are amazed. Among them, the sunhead figures' human forms with sunburst halos stand as the greatest mystery. These figures are completely unique to Tamgali and are rarely found elsewhere in the region from the same era. The sunhead figures are carved with large, round heads surrounded by evenly radiating rays like the sun. Some figures have horns, geometric patterns, or strange symbols combined with stick-like or stylized bodies. Some carvings show a single large sun head surrounded by animals kneeling, while other groups show 2 to 3 sun heads together in ritual scenes, exuding a sense of power and the supernatural. Many scholars believe they represent sun deities, ancestral spirits, or shamans with the ability to communicate with the spirit world. The sunhead figures often appear in extremely special places, high cliffs difficult to reach, or shrine areas set apart from daily life. Notably, many are positioned so that when the sun rises or sets on important days of the year, like the summer or winter solstice, light will shine directly on the sunhead or the whole relief, as if activating the deity. This shows that the Tamgali people had knowledge of astronomy, could measure shadows, and may have built an entire ritual calendar system based on the movement of celestial bodies. This combination of art, religion, and astronomy not only reflects deep spiritual beliefs, but also indicates a high level of technical and mathematical skill. At this very point, Tamgali presents one of the greatest enigmas in Central Asian archaeology. How could ancient people, equipped only with primitive tools, create rock carvings that are deep, sharp, and harmoniously composed, while also achieving extremely precise astronomical alignments, all without leaving behind any textual records or technical diagrams? The basalt at Tamgali is inherently hard and durable, resistant to erosion over time, yet the carvings here display uniform depth, crisp lines, and no cracks, indicating that the ancients mastered advanced techniques in chiseling and engraving with copper or hard stone tools, and may have even combined these with heating methods to fracture the surface before proceeding with meticulous carving. Some traces suggest that in addition to stone hammers or copper chisels, they may have used sand abrasives or natural chemicals to temporarily soften the stone's surface before engraving, thereby producing smooth, consistent curves, an extremely rare achievement among contemporary sites. Even after thousands of years, many sunhead carvings still retain their original depth, showing almost no signs of wear, which suggests a very high level of expertise in selecting the stone, preparing the surface, and preserving the engraved layer. This leads some specialists to wonder, did the people of Tamgali possess secret preservation techniques or use some lost materials? Tamgali's mysteries extend beyond craftsmanship, encompassing astronomical knowledge ingeniously woven into art. The sunhead figures rarely appear at random. Instead, they are typically placed in positions calculated with great care regarding the sunrise, sunset, and seasonal transitions, so that sunlight would strike them precisely during important ritual times of the year. Numerous modern studies using astronomical simulation software have shown that during the solstices or equinoxes, the rays of the rising sun shine directly into the eyes or halos of the sunheads, creating an almost supernatural effect, as if the sun god were revived. This suggests that the ancients closely observed natural cycles using shadow sticks, measuring rods, or primitive stone columns to determine directions with remarkable accuracy. Additionally, clusters of sunhead figures demonstrate a close relationship between art and mathematics, as they are typically symmetrically composed, evenly spaced, and harmoniously proportioned within the overall relief, as if some mysterious standard of measurement ensured consistency throughout the complex, even though the individual figures vary greatly in size from several dozen centimeters up to nearly 2 meters. Most remarkably, the entire Tamgali site lacks any records, inscriptions, or technical diagrams detailing their methods of craftsmanship and measurement. Knowledge seems to have been passed down orally, guarded by shamans or skilled artisans, with much of it lost over time. Some theories even suggest that the Tamgali people could harness topography, magnetic fields, or the acoustics of the rocks to select sacred sites before carving, similar to how other civilizations searched for dragon veins before constructing temples, though there is no material evidence for this idea to date. The refinement and precision of Tamgali's techniques even inspired many other sites in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Siberia, where imitations of the sunhead carvings appear, but nowhere else has matched the sophistication, grandeur, and astronomical harmony achieved at Tamgali. Besides the technical aspects, the true origins and purpose of the sunhead figures have always been a subject of controversy. Numerous archaeological findings indicate that the inhabitants of Tamgali worshipped the sun deity, considering it the protective spirit of crops, livestock, and life itself. The selection of locations, as well as the alignment of light for the sunhead carvings, further reinforce the sacred role of this symbol within the community's beliefs. Some opinions suggest that the sunhead images are actually portraits of shamans wearing sun hats, individuals responsible for conducting trance rituals, communicating with the spiritual realm to pray for abundant harvests or to ward off disease for the villagers. There are clusters of sunheads of enormous size carved in the center of stone plazas, the gathering places for the entire tribe, serving as a declaration that the power of the deities, or the tribal elders, is intrinsically tied to the cosmic order which cannot be overturned. Additionally, there are non-scientific theories proposing that the sunhead figures are the way ancient people recorded memories of encounters with extraterrestrial beings, linking them to the large-headed, big-eyed figures found in other ancient civilizations worldwide. However, this theory is not accepted by mainstream archaeologists. Currently, Tamgali has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, becoming a precious living archive of the beliefs, art, and technical achievements of ancient people. However, behind those magnificent rock carvings remain countless unsolved mysteries. Beneath layers of earth and the dust of time, archaeologists believe there are still hundreds or even thousands of carvings yet to be discovered, each new find potentially offering important clues about ancient craftsmanship, ritual meanings, and the spiritual life of the people who once lived there. One of the greatest challenges today is how to preserve, reconstruct, and accurately decode the stone carving and astronomical measurement techniques once used by the people of Tamgali, a task that requires the combination of many fields from archaeology and art to modern technology, while also opening up numerous opportunities for future generations of researchers to continue the journey of unraveling this remarkable heritage. The Tamgali sunhead figures are not just works of art. They also conceal mysteries of lost craftsmanship and astronomical knowledge. The intricate stone carvings, harmonious compositions, and precise alignments with celestial events make us wonder, did ancient people possess technical secrets we have yet to uncover? Behind each radiant circle may lie a message about the connection between humanity, the universe, and the divine, a mystery that will continue to challenge human curiosity for generations to come. When people mention Malta, most immediately think of its grand megalithic structures like Hagar Chim and Ajdra, or Taxian gigantic stone temples that have fascinated archaeologists for centuries. However hidden amid the pale limestone plateaus right beside these famous monuments lies another great mystery that science has yet to fully decipher: the Misqa tanks, a system of water cisterns built by prehistoric Maltese peoples thousands of years ago. These rock-hewn chambers, sunk deep into the geology, are not only technical marvels, but also raise a series of tough questions about their true purpose, an essential element fueling the mysterious allure of the Misqa tanks among researchers. What do you think was the true purpose of the Misqa tanks? Were they just practical water reservoirs, or did they serve a deeper religious or ceremonial role? Share your thoughts or theories in the comments below. Before delving into the grand question of their purpose, we must first acknowledge the wondrous engineering of the Misqa tanks. Carved directly into solid limestone, each tank has a massive volume, and its walls and base are impressively smooth, even by today's technical standards. Some tanks are linked together in an underground network with passages and special ventilation holes. This refined stonework demonstrates that the inhabitants of Malta during the Neolithic and Bronze Age were not only masters of temple construction, but also highly adept at organizing space and managing water resources vital on such an arid Mediterranean island. One thing that adds to the enigmatic aura of the Misqa tanks is their location. Most large tanks are situated close to important megalithic temples like Menajdra and Hagar Chim. Some believe this is no coincidence, but rather reflects some ritualistic or social organizational intent of Malta's ancient people. Were these tanks part of a complex ceremonial system connected to religion and water control, or simply built to serve the daily needs of large communities surrounding the temples? The true purpose of the Misqa tank system remains one of the greatest mysteries in Maltese archaeology. Many researchers believe that these tanks were simply built to store fresh water, serving the daily needs of ancient communities in the context of Malta's constant struggle with water scarcity. Constructing large tanks at elevated locations helped to collect and preserve rainwater efficiently, while also avoiding the risk of contamination from the land or the sea. However, upon closer examination of the size, structure, and geographic placement of the Misqa tanks, more and more scientists have noticed that they go far beyond everyday needs. Many tanks have a capacity of tens of thousands of liters, far greater than what the local population around the temples would require, and they are all tightly sealed with thick walls and considerable depth, which is not typical for tanks intended for daily use. Because of this, some theorize that the Misqa tanks were not merely reserve water storage structures, but also carried special ritual or religious significance. Some scholars suggest that these tanks could have served purification rituals for priests, devotees, or offerings before entering the temple, since water has always been a sacred element in many ancient religions. Additionally, in Mother Goddess worship, water symbolized fertility, the protection of crops, and the preservation of lineage. Possessing and controlling water resources was also an important factor in consolidating the power of the ruling class or priestly caste at that time. Large tanks could have acted as central hubs for water distribution for the entire community, especially during harsh periods of drought. Another remarkable point is that some Misqa tanks were built on such a massive scale that they far exceeded the needs of any single small group. This has led to theories that these tanks may have been shared projects for entire regions or were used during large festivals and ceremonies when hundreds or even thousands of people gathered. Some even speculate that the Misqa tanks were intended to collect sacred water, the first rains of the season, considered the purest to be used in important ceremonies or offerings at the start of the year. During periods of drought, the water stored here could become vital for survival, further increasing the power and status of those who managed the tanks. To date, excavations at the Misqa tanks have yielded few artifacts, besides some broken pottery and natural rainwater residue accumulated over thousands of years. No pipe slids or complex water distribution systems like those found in Egypt or Mesopotamia have been found. This only deepens the mystery. Why? With such advanced stoneworking skills, did the ancient Maltese leave no trace of how they drew stored or distributed water from these tanks? Some sediment layers at the bottom of the tanks contain traces of organic matter, possibly brought by rainwater or the result of religious rituals involving animal or plant sacrifices in the sacred water tanks. Malta is famous for its ancient water management systems, deep stone wells, irrigation ditches around old villages, and even large cisterns at temple sites. The Misqa tanks are prime examples of community thinking in organizing living space and maximizing harsh natural conditions. Yet their presence only near megalithic sites and not all old villages raises further doubts. Did they play a special role beyond basic domestic function? Despite extensive research, many fundamental mysteries about the Misqa tanks remain unsolved. To this day, it is still unclear who exactly designed and constructed these massive water tanks. No definitive evidence has been found to identify the group or culture responsible for carving, shaping, and operating this intricate water system. The true purpose of the Misqa tanks is equally elusive. While the theory that they served as water storage for daily life is widely accepted, the possibility that they played important ritual or religious roles cannot be ruled out, as there is no conclusive evidence to dismiss any hypothesis. Another perplexing aspect is the sheer scale of these tanks. Their size far exceeds the regular water needs of the surrounding population, raising the question of whether they were intended for purposes beyond mere domestic use. It is also uncertain whether all the tanks were designed for the same function, or if different groups of tanks had specific roles connected to various periods in Malta's religious and cultural history. Furthermore, the relationship between the Misqa tanks and the development of other megalithic civilizations in the Mediterranean and Europe remains an intriguing question. Do the techniques and organizational models of the Misqa tanks share any similarities with or differ significantly from other ancient water storage systems across the region? The Misqa tanks are not just monumental feats of ancient Maltese engineering, they are also symbols of a culture that was both practical and mystical. Over millennia, these water chambers have tenaciously kept their secrets, challenging modern archaeologists in the quest to decode humanity's past. Perhaps someday, a new discovery will illuminate the true purpose of the Misqa tanks, just as megalithic temples once stunned humanity with prehistoric intelligence. But until then, each cistern on Malta's plateau stands as a reminder of unsolved mysteries in human history, where the line between daily life and the spiritual realm is always blurred, intertwined, and awaiting discovery by future generations. If there is any place on Earth that still preserves the breath of ancient secrets, it is the deep forests of Palenque, Chiapas, southern Mexico. Hidden beneath the tropical canopy, these weathered stone ruins tell stories of a once thriving, proud Maya civilization. But not all mysteries are revealed under the sunlight. Some are buried deep within the earth, waiting for a destined moment to be uncovered. Among the most astonishing discoveries, the tomb of the Red Queen stands out as a question mark, challenging both time and human knowledge. Beyond its dazzling wealth of artifacts, this tomb poses a profound puzzle. Who truly was the woman honored to rest among the most powerful elite of the Maya, and what turned her into the legendary Red Queen, a mysterious figure whose real identity remains an alluring enigma to this day? Who do you think the Red Queen really was? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In 1994, during excavations at Palenque, archaeologists discovered a small passageway beside the Temple of the Inscriptions, the burial site of Pakal the Great, one of the most illustrious kings in Maya history. They gradually approached Temple 13, an unassuming temple overshadowed by more prominent structures. Beneath the temple, a secret burial chamber sealed by large stone slabs was revealed. Upon opening it, the team was stunned to find an elaborately carved stone sarcophagus containing the skeleton of a woman, her remains, and grave goods entirely covered in vibrant red cinnabar powder, along with a trove of jade gold and precious stones. They called her La Reina Roja, the Red Queen, a name inspired by the red powder that enveloped her body and the artifacts. Immediately, big questions arose. Was she a wife, mother, sister, or some other powerful figure in the Maya royal family? Why was she buried with such grandeur? What compelled the Maya to perform this mysterious red ritual? Anthropological analysis indicates that the skeleton found in the tomb belonged to a woman around 60 years old, petite in stature, yet buried with extraordinary luxury. Surrounding her were a mosaic mask made of blue-green jade earrings, necklaces, jewelry, and many precious objects reserved only for the elite. The arrangement of the tomb bears many similarities to the tomb of Pakal the Great, suggesting that its owner held a particularly important position in society. Initial DNA studies ruled out the possibility that she was Pakal's mother, due to genetic mismatch, though other kinship ties or exhumus connections, still debated among Maya scholars, cannot be ruled out. In particular, marks on her teeth and bones indicate that she lived in a noble environment and enjoyed a privileged diet befitting the status of a queen or empress. A widely supported hypothesis among researchers is that she could in fact be Tzakbu Ajau, the wife of Pakal the Great. According to Maya records, Tzakbu Ajau was a prestigious queen, bestowed the title Lady of Palenque, and exerted great influence over religion, politics, and court rituals. She died around the year 672 AD, just a few years after Pakal ascended the throne. Researchers believe that the Red Queen's tomb was constructed around this same time, and only those with status equal to that of a king or queen would be buried near the Temple of the Inscriptions, within specially designed burial chambers. The symbols carved on the stone sarcophagus are also closely associated with the emblems of Pakal's dynasty. However, there is still no inscription or direct evidence that definitively identifies her as Tzakbu Ajau, and some genetic samples even show inconsistencies with Pakal's direct descendants, so this theory remains unconfirmed to this day. In addition, many scholars have proposed other theories regarding the Red Queen's identity, for example, that she might have been Pakal's mother, Lady Zakuk, or a powerful religious leader in Palenque, or even a foreign noblewoman who married into the royal family to strengthen political alliances. However, all existing archaeological and genetic evidence remains conflicting or insufficient to definitively determine the true owner of this tomb. The mystery grows deeper, considering that Maya culture placed great emphasis on recording the achievements of their rulers on reliefs and stelae, yet the owner of this tomb is not specifically mentioned in any known document at Palenque. Perhaps after her death, she was erased from the historical record for reasons that researchers have yet to understand. The most striking feature of the tomb is the thick layer of red powder covering the remains and artifacts, primarily cinnabar, a mineral rich in mercury. Hg is highly toxic, but revered by the ancient Maya as a sacred material. Cinnabar was used in rituals associated with blood rebirth and immortality, the three pillars of supreme power, and the life-death cycle of the Maya royal family. For the Red Queen, the heavy cinnabar ritual was a declaration of supreme authority, a divine transformation, and a belief that she would continue to rule in the afterlife. The choice of red, the color of blood, life, and death, only adds to the tomb's mystery and allure. Temple 13 is a construction marvel. The burial chamber lies deep underground, sealed completely by large stone slabs to prevent air, humidity, and creatures from entering. The stone sarcophagus is monolithic, intricately carved with royal symbols. The entire tomb structure reflects the Maya's advanced construction techniques and sculptural artistry at their peak in the 7th century. The grave goods, from jade masks and gold jewelry to exquisite ceramics and stone bowls, are masterpieces of art, not only affirming the owner's power, but also reflecting Maya religious beliefs and philosophies. One of the most puzzling aspects for scientists regarding the tomb of the Red Queen is why such a powerful figure, buried with such luxury, left behind no inscription, carving, or symbol affirming her name or title, as was customary in Maya culture. Some theories suggest that after her death, she was deposed and erased from the historical record. Or perhaps it was the Maya tradition at Palenque during that era to intentionally keep absolute secrecy about their queens. It's also possible that behind this mystery lies a hidden political story, such as struggles for power among rival dynasties. In addition, the true nature of the ritual that involved covering the entire body and grave goods with red pigment remains hotly debated. Although cinnabar does help preserve remains from bacteria and insects, the unusually thick layer found in this tomb far exceeds what was typical. Was this the ultimate expression of respect, or was it actually a ritual meant to seal the soul and prevent the deceased from returning to the earthly world? Some scholars have even suggested that the use of cinnabar is related to beliefs about reincarnation, deification, or the transfer of power across generations. Moreover, many objects discovered in the tomb also harbor great mysteries. Numerous artifacts feature religious symbols, sacred animals, or enigmatic shapes unique to the Maya, but to this day, researchers have yet to fully decipher their true meaning. In particular, some jade fragments were assembled into a mask with a singular design found nowhere else in the entire Maya realm, further adding to the tomb's sense of mystery. The tomb of the Red Queen represents a major turning point in the study of women's roles in Maya society. This discovery proves that not only kings, but also queens and royal consorts wielded immense power and could even be deified, worshipped on par with men. It also opens new avenues for research into bloodlines, political alliances, and religious power in Maya city-states. Moreover, the discovery, preservation, and analysis of the Red Queen's tomb have allowed scientists to understand more deeply Maya mortuary architecture, sculptural art, and the complex rituals of this enigmatic civilization, one that still holds countless secrets to this day. The tomb of the Red Queen forever remains one of the greatest enigmas of ancient Maya civilization. Its true owner remains a legendary figure shrouded in cinnabar red deep in the Palenque forest. Although modern science has answered many mysteries about her age, gender, and status, the question, who was she still, beckons those yearning to unlock humanity's ultimate secrets. Behind every ancient stone lying exposed on the banks of the Nile lies a story that time itself has never fully revealed. Sihel Island has no grand pyramids, no golden pharaoh tombs, yet it conceals an age-old enigma, the Famine Stela. With lines of hieroglyphs carved into rock amidst a harsh landscape, people of the past sent a message about famine deities and the fate of an entire civilization. Thousands of years have passed, but scholars and archaeologists still cannot unravel the layers of meaning surrounding the origin and purpose of this stele, a place where history, legend, and power blend together like the eternal flow of the Nile. What do you think the real purpose of the Famine Stela was? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Famine Stela is carved directly onto a large granite boulder among countless other stelae on Sihel Island, which was once the first place to receive the annual floods in ancient Egypt. What makes this stela special is that it contains more than 260 lines of hieroglyphs, recounting one of the most famous historical legends about a famine lasting 7 years during the reign of King Djoser, the celebrated pharaoh of the 3rd dynasty around 2700 BC. According to the inscription, the Nile failed to rise, drought persisted, and the country plunged into hardship, with famine and social chaos. King Djoser pleaded with the gods and was visited in a dream by Khnum, the creator god and guardian of the Nile, who instructed him on the rites and temple building needed to restore the floodwaters and life to Egypt. Yet beneath this meticulously carved tale lies a series of major questions about the true nature and purpose of the Famine Stela. Where is the historical truth? How much is a patchwork of mythology, politics, and faith from different eras? One of the most hotly debated issues surrounding the Famine Stela is the true age of this inscription. Although it tells the story of King Djoser and Imhotep, meaning it refers to events more than 4,000 years ago, archaeological research has shown that the Famine Stela is not an original artifact from the Old Kingdom. Instead, it was carved during the Ptolemaic period, the Hellenistic era of Egypt, roughly from the 3rd to the 2nd century BCE, meaning it was created more than 2,000 years after the events it describes. This raises the question, why was a legend about famine revived at the very end of ancient Egyptian civilization? Is the Famine Stela simply a historical record, or does it actually conceal much deeper motives? The content of the stela describes King Djoser turning to Imhotep, the famed vizier, architect, and priest, for an explanation as to why the Nile failed to flood. Imhotep then directs the king to the god Khnum, and after ritual offerings, the waters return to save the country. In Djoser's era, Imhotep was indeed a real historical figure, but over the millennia, he was gradually mythologized, eventually being worshipped as a healing god and a deity of wisdom. Yet what is noteworthy is that the story of a 7-year famine does not appear at all in original documents from Djoser's time. Most details, especially Imhotep's role as the savior of the nation, only start to appear centuries later, most notably during the Ptolemaic period, when ancient Egyptians increasingly emphasized divinity miracles and religious faith to consolidate power and legitimize new rituals. The choice of Sihel Island as the site for the inscription is also significant. This is where the Nile's floodwaters first enter Egypt, and it is home to hundreds of ancient stelae, recording events and prayers of officials, kings, and merchants across the ages. Placing the Famine Stela here was highly symbolic, as Sihel is seen as the gateway to survival, where people look to the god Khnum and pray for water. Thus, the Famine Stela is not merely a record, but also a socio-religious message, reminding every generation of humanity's dependence on nature and the gods, as well as the essential role of religious rites. Furthermore, many modern scholars have questioned the historical accuracy of the 7-year famine described on the stela. Paleoclimatic studies and Nile sediment analyses have not yet clearly confirmed any extreme climate event during Djoser's time. Some believe this legend is actually a blend of memories of various droughts and disasters retold as a cautionary or didactic myth, and perhaps also meant to reinforce the king's image as the chosen and protected one of the gods. If we only view the Famine Stela as a piece of mythological storytelling, we overlook its deeper significance. This stele is a product of the Ptolemaic era, a period marked by intense political, cultural, and religious upheaval. The Ptolemaic period was a time when Egypt was heavily influenced by Greece and foreign religions, forcing native rulers to constantly reaffirm their legitimacy in the eyes of the populace. The retelling of the story of Djoser, Imhotep, and Khnum could have served as a way to connect a golden past with a challenging present, while also justifying the era's expensive rituals, taxes, and monumental construction projects. Moreover, the Famine Stela contributed to consolidating the power of priests and the religious elite, as all solutions to national crises were shown to originate from the gods and the rituals they controlled. Some scholars argue that the Famine Stela is not merely a cautionary legend about famine, but also a declaration of authority by new political and religious powers through which Ptolemaic kings indirectly affirmed themselves as the worthy heirs of legendary pharaohs, sanctioned by the gods and legitimized in their rule. At the same time, the stele can also be seen as a document that legitimized economic and social policies, especially festivals, rites for the god Khnum, or major hydraulic projects in Aswan and the Upper Nile. The persistent emphasis on Khnum, his temples and rituals, was not only religiously meaningful, but also aimed at mobilizing social resources and maintaining social order. Beyond that, the Famine Stela stands as a stone covenant, where the king pledged to the gods, the people, and future generations that if the rituals were observed and humility was shown before the forces of nature, Egypt would be protected. But ingratitude and disrespect would bring famine and ruin. This is the fusion of ancient beliefs and practical political strategy, which creates the enduring fascination and multi-layered value of the Famine Stela in the history of ancient Egypt. For the ancient Egyptians, the Famine Stela was a reminder of the power of the gods and humanity's own imperfection in the face of nature's might. For Egyptians during the Ptolemaic period, this stele became a tool to reinforce authority, justify rituals and laws, and strengthen community bonds in a society undergoing great change. In the eyes of modern scholars, the Famine Stela is a precious resource offering insights into language, society, climate beliefs, and even the methods of making history once used by ancient dynasties. And for lovers of mystery, this inscription opens a gateway into a labyrinth of endless unanswered questions. Were the events described on the stela real, or were they constructed? What was its deeper purpose? A warning, a tool for propaganda, or a means of legitimizing something even greater? The Famine Stela on Sehel Island is proof that history is layered with meaning, inviting each generation to discover new interpretations. Blending myth, religion, and politics, this simple stone still carries the weight of millennia. Its true origin and purpose remain mysterious. Was it history legend or a tool for power? In the end, the Famine Stela endures as a symbol of the unbreakable link between people, nature, and the divine, endlessly intriguing all who seek answers to humanity's greatest mysteries. Across the tidal plains of Colombia's northern coast, where the waters of the Magdalena River merge with the Caribbean Sea, lies an archaeological site that many researchers call the forgotten clue of ancient South American history, Puerto Hormiga. If you picture the birth of great civilizations, with pyramid stone statues or grand irrigation systems, put aside those templates when you hear the name Puerto Hormiga. There are no palaces here, no gigantic sculptures, yet this place holds a foundational mystery for the entire continent, the emergence of primitive pottery, a discovery that would transform the daily life and social organization of ancient peoples. What do you think about the role of primitive pottery at Puerto Hormiga? In your opinion, was the pottery-making technique here an independent invention or influenced by other regions? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Puerto Hormiga was discovered in a marshy coastal plain where people long ago made use of abundant aquatic resources to survive. Archaeologists have dated Puerto Hormiga to between 4,000 and 6,000 years before the Common Era, making it among the oldest known South American communities with evidence of long-term settlement. Yet what sets this place apart isn't its scale or architecture, but rather its gigantic shell middens piled high with millions of clam shells, snails, fish bones, and especially extremely primitive shards of pottery. At Puerto Hormiga, researchers found hundreds, even thousands of pottery fragments dating back over 6 millennia. These represent some of the earliest evidence of pottery making in the Americas. What's striking is how crude these shards are: thick-walled, dark gray or deep red, their surfaces rough and unpolished with no decorative patterns. Their sizes and shapes vary: small, cup rims, flat pot bases, thick chunks like blocks of fired earth, all pointing to a very basic primitive level of ceramic technology. Notably, most of these pottery fragments were made from local clay, mixed with crushed shell fragments, a natural temper that helps bind the material but also creates tiny holes and gives the pottery a certain porosity. Some fragments still show scorch marks, indicating they were used for cooking boiling water or food preparation. The appearance of pottery at Puerto Hormiga has sparked a major debate among archaeologists. Was the technology for making pottery invented locally by the people here, or did it arrive through contact and exchange with nearby regions such as the Amazon, the Andes, or even Central America? There are three main hypotheses regarding the origin of Puerto Hormiga's pottery. First, some researchers believe the people of Puerto Hormiga were the very first in South America to invent pottery making independently of other cultures. They base this on distinctive features of the pottery, here the way shell was used as temper, the shaping methods, the low firing temperatures, and especially the absence of ornate patterns, like those in other contemporary pottery traditions. Second, other scholars lean towards the idea that Puerto Hormiga's pottery resulted from vigorous cultural exchange with coastal Pacific or Amazonian communities. They point to similarities in material shaping techniques and the simultaneous appearance of primitive ceramics at multiple sites stretching from the north to the south of the Americas, especially along major river systems that would facilitate travel and trade. Third, still others suggest a multi-center scenario that pottery technology appeared independently at several places, each developing its own school of pottery, but with interactions and mutual influence over time. However, evidence so far is strong enough to definitively confirm any one hypothesis. Chemical analyses of pottery samples, comparisons of microscopic features, studies of kiln traces, and distribution models of ancient sites all remain at the level of speculation, piecing together a puzzle from scattered fragments of history. Why is pottery so important in human history? Quite simply, the invention of pottery was a turning point in technology, society, and economics. Once people learned to make ceramics, they not only gained new ways to cook and store food and water, but also unlocked the ability to store provisions for long periods, a decisive factor that allowed communities to abandon nomadic life, settle down permanently, develop agriculture, and form villages. At Puerto Hormiga, pottery fragments are found mixed with shell fish bones, stone tools, and plant remains, showing that this community used ceramics in daily life, particularly for processing seafood, cooking shellfish, boiling salt water, etc. This, in turn, reflects a society in transition from foraging and hunting to permanent settlement and higher levels of social organization. The shell middens themselves, containing millions of marine shells interspersed with pottery and other remains, may also symbolize grand communal festivals or rituals. In this context, pottery was not merely a utilitarian object, but perhaps also carried spiritual or ceremonial meaning, a role pottery has played in many ancient cultures around the world. Today, each pottery shard found at Puerto Hormiga is considered a golden key to unlocking the mysteries of prehistoric America. Through chemical analysis, scientists determine the origins of the clay, the types of minerals, the ratio of shell temper, helping reconstruct the environment sources of raw material, and even trade or exchange relationships between ancient communities. Even studies using electron microscopes have revealed traces of marine microorganisms, small cut marks on pottery surfaces from stone tools or use, and even carbonized food remains left from meals cooked in those ancient pots. Each detail, when pieced together, gradually unveils a complex, multi-layered, and astonishingly creative past for the people of Puerto Hormiga. Although Puerto Hormiga has been studied and excavated for decades, it still holds countless mysteries waiting to be unraveled. How did this ancient community disappear? Did the development of pottery techniques here spread to other regions, contributing to the ceramic wave across the New World? Or was this just a small, isolated branch that faded away amid the vast sea of South America's ancient civilizations? Many more questions remain unanswered. Who were the first potters at Puerto Hormiga, and where did they learn their craft? Was it a result of local ingenuity, or was it knowledge passed down from elsewhere? Did Puerto Hormiga pottery serve religious or ceremonial purposes, or was it simply a tool for survival? What roles did women and children play in the pottery-making process? And why did the ceramic technology here remain so simple for centuries without the artistic and technical breakthroughs seen in other cultures? The marshy soils of Puerto Hormiga still hold millions of pottery fragments, shells, and stone tools waiting for a new generation of archaeologists and scientists to continue exploring and answering the unresolved questions of this enigmatic site. Puerto Hormiga, with its crude and enigmatic pottery, stands as one of the gateways to a new era for humanity in the New World. From the humble hands of its ancient people, the art of pottery spread, laying the foundation for many other advancements in agriculture, construction, social organization, religion, and art. Today, whenever an archaeologist picks up a tiny potsherd from the Puerto Hormiga marshes, it is not merely an archaeological relic, it is a message from the past to the present. History's greatest chapters aren't always written in stone or pyramid, but sometimes begin with a simple clay pot, a commoner's invention, powerful enough to shape the destiny of humankind. Deep within the southern Mesopotamian desert, at an archaeological site now called Girsu, present-day Teloh, Iraq, archaeologists once discovered a remarkable stone stele later named the Teloh Obelisk. For historians and archaeologists, this is not just a strange artifact in terms of shape, but a cipher that has challenged every attempt at decoding for over a century. Even though only the damaged body remains, the Teloh Obelisk still bears countless symbols, scripts, and carvings encompassing a treasure trove of knowledge, beliefs, rituals, and powers of ancient Sumerian civilization. Most importantly, it raises an unanswered question. Why did the Sumerians create this stele, and what was its true purpose? What do you think the true purpose of the Teloh Obelisk was? Share your thoughts in the comments below. First, the Teloh Obelisk's shape is unusual compared to Mesopotamian tradition. It is tall, rectangular, with four sides densely inscribed with ancient cuneiform and vivid reliefs. Each side seems to tell its own story: sacrificial scenes, agricultural rituals, images of deities, processions of offerings, farming, hunting, and community life. If Egyptian obelisks symbolize the sun, honoring the gods and pharaoh's power, in Sumer this stele is enveloped in a mist of ambiguity and polysemy. Scholars debate, is this a kind of ritual calendar, a stele recording agricultural processes, reminding people of the cycles of sowing and important annual festivals, or is it a legal code where the king or a powerful priest declared their divine authority over the populace? Some theories even propose it's a record of a king's or lord's achievements, listing tributes received from vassal regions, thereby asserting social order and divine right. But all answers stop at speculation. What remains on the Teloh Obelisk is both concrete sacrificial ritual and divine imagery, and two abstract symbols never seen elsewhere, difficult to decipher passages, creating a labyrinth of knowledge with as many interpretations as interpreters. What makes the Teloh Obelisk unique is the blend of Sumerian cuneiform and lively carvings. On each side, the ancients depicted every activity: farming, herding, processing produce, hunting, offering rituals, and even religious ceremonies, intermingled with images of humans, gods, and animals. Most notably, there are strange symbols never found in other Sumerian artifacts, mysterious objects in the hands of worshippers, gods with garments or crowns, unlike any known mythology, or enigmatic gestures that remain undeciphered to this day. The text only deepens the puzzle. Some passages are identified as prayers, offerings to Ningirsu, the patron deity of Girsu, as well as commands or edicts from rulers. But many passages have been worn away or use archaic language that might be metaphorical, symbolic, or even ritual codes that only contemporaries could understand. Some archaeologists have likened the Teloh Obelisk to an open book whose key is lost, leaving descendants only able to guess, never to know for sure. When the Teloh Obelisk is placed alongside other artifacts from the same era, it's easy to see that while it shares certain similarities, it also possesses many profound differences. Unlike the famous law steles, such as the Code of Hammurabi, which focus primarily on written text, the Teloh Obelisk is not only inscribed with lines of cuneiform, but is also covered in richly symbolic and ritualistic imagery. If we consider it a legal stele, it clearly does not follow conventional methods of recording laws, instead blending in many mysterious elements and unique rituals. On the other hand, if we interpret the Teloh Obelisk as an agricultural calendar or a festival record, the images it displays encompass too many different realms, ranging from daily life to bizarre mythological details. Notably, there are strange scenes, such as people offering mysterious objects to the gods, whose true nature remains unidentified, or ritual actions that do not appear in any other surviving Sumerian records. Some modern theories suggest that the Teloh Obelisk functioned as an axis mundi, a cosmic pillar connecting the heavens, the earth, humanity, and the divine, with its four faces, representing the four cardinal directions, the cycles of time, or the social strata of Sumerian society, king priesthood, deities, and common people. However, the most remarkable point is that no one has yet been able to prove the true purpose of this artifact. Perhaps the Teloh Obelisk is a product of an era of interwoven beliefs where religious, social, and legal ideologies merged together to create a super-symbolic object whose multidimensional value remains challenging for posterity to fully decipher. Even though it remains incompletely decoded, the Teloh Obelisk shines as a gem among Mesopotamian archaeological finds, providing rare insights into how the ancient Sumerians thought about time, power, divinity, and the cycle of life. Through the images and inscriptions on the stele, researchers can imagine a society where all daily activities were sanctified, where the boundary between the mundane and the sacred was always blurred. This stele also hints at the possible existence of secret knowledge or internal wisdom accessible only to a select few, perhaps the priesthood or royalty. If so, the Teloh Obelisk is not just a public monument, but a secret archive, passing on knowledge, lore, faith, even magic of the ancient Sumerians. More than 4 millennia after its creation, the Teloh Obelisk continues to be the subject of endless debate among scholars. Each generation of archaeologists uncovers new details, opening up fresh perspectives on its true purpose. Some have wondered whether the obelisk might have served as a kind of textbook for priests, encoding the full range of ritual procedures for training future generations. Others suggest that it could be a mythological cosmic map, illustrating the workings of the world through 4 seasons, 4 directions, and 4 elemental forces, with the obelisk itself standing as a pillar connecting heaven and earth. There is also the possibility that the monument was intended as a reminder of the profound bond between humanity and the divine, a message to every generation of Sumerians that all achievements from the harvest to the exercise of power are ultimately gifts from supernatural forces, and that the observance of sacred rituals is an essential part of existence. Even today, many sections of the obelisk's inscriptions remain only partially deciphered, while certain carvings continue to evoke associations with early cosmological or astronomical symbolism. Some theorists even believe the monument may have been used to record community oaths, serving as a collective pledge to uphold divine order and ensure the fertility and prosperity of the land. The greatest value of the Teloh Obelisk lies not only in its age, artistry, or historical information, but in its mystery of purpose and meaning. Its very existence testifies to a civilization that once possessed profound depths of knowledge, belief, and art that we today can only barely glimpse. Perhaps one day, humanity will find the key to fully understand the Teloh Obelisk's message, but until then, it will remain one of the greatest and most alluring enigmas of Sumerian civilization, urging us all to keep exploring, researching, and honoring the ancient heritage of humankind. The Teloh Obelisk is a unique artifact, both a symbol and a mystery. It presents to modern people timeless questions about the true meaning of ancient heritage. Are these merely remnants? Or are they messages, lessons, even warnings left by our ancestors? With the Teloh Obelisk, every theory about its purpose and meaning opens a new door for human imagination, research, and endless discovery. If we had to choose a single place in the world to tell the story of humanity's beginnings, a place where people first settled down permanently, built communities, invented agriculture, created protective walls, and formed the idea of social organization, then Tel es-Sultan, also known as Ancient Jericho, would be the leading candidate. Hailed as the oldest continually inhabited city in the world, Tel es-Sultan is not just an ordinary archaeological site. It is a living testament to the turning point of humanity, marking the transformation from scattered hunter-gatherer groups into a structured society with order and a collective sense of security. What do you think motivated ancient people to build the very first Great Walls at Tel es-Sultan? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tel es-Sultan lies at the lower reaches of the Jordan River, not far from the Dead Sea, and sits about 250 meters below sea level, making it the lowest point on land ever inhabited and urbanized by humans. Over more than 12,000 years, wave after wave of communities have come and gone, leaving behind meters of sediment house ruins, human remains, pottery shards, and most notably stone walls with a historical depth unparalleled in archaeology. Modern excavations since the 19th century have confirmed that Tel es-Sultan has seen continuous settlement from the Natufian period around 10,000 BCE through the early Bronze Age, predating the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, or any ancient city in Mesopotamia by millennia. This site is considered a unique oasis amidst a semi-desert region thanks to the abundant underground water from the Elisha Spring, enabling early residents to develop irrigation agriculture, grow wheat and barley, and domesticate animals. The most remarkable and mysterious feature of Tel es-Sultan is the Walls of Jericho, the oldest fortification system ever discovered, appearing around 8000 BCE, which is more than 10,000 years ago. These walls were constructed from large stone blocks, skillfully stacked without mortar, with a thickness of nearly 2 meters and a height that could reach 5 meters or more. Standing out alongside the walls is the Jericho Tower, adjacent to the fortification, about 8 to 9 meters high, with a spiral staircase inside a truly extraordinary architectural feat for the technical level of the Neolithic era. What astonishes archaeologists and modern engineers alike is that these early communities, whose main tools were made of stone and who had not yet discovered metal, were able to transport, carve, and assemble such large stone blocks to create a defensive system of this scale and complexity. To this day, researchers still do not have a truly convincing answer for the labor organization, material management, or the motivations that drove people of that time to undertake such a grand construction. A big question arises: why would a primitive agricultural settlement need to build walls so thick and high, especially when archaeological findings show no signs of war or contemporary weaponry? On this issue, the theories proposed are diverse and often conflicting. Many believe that the walls of Jericho were humanity's first fortress, built to defend against outside enemies, possibly other groups of hunters or large wild animals, such as lions, leopards, or wild dogs. However, archaeological evidence does not indicate any traces of warfare fortifications or strong weaponry existing in the same period. A newer and more widely accepted theory is that the walls and the Jericho Tower were built to withstand floods during the rainy season from the Jordan River. The thick stone walls helped protect mud brick houses from being swept away, while the stone tower could serve as a water-level observation point or an emergency shelter during floods. Additionally, some researchers believe that building the walls and the high tower also had a symbolic meaning of collective power, marking the transition to an organized and hierarchical society, demonstrating the community's control over nature and supernatural forces. The tall stone tower could have served as an astronomical observatory, a place for religious ceremonies, or a shrine to protective deities. Precisely because of the contradictions in theories about their purpose and construction, the walls of Jericho have become a symbol of intellect, effort, and unsolved mysteries from the first civilization. Many scientists have compared the walls of Jericho to wonders like the pyramids of Giza or Stonehenge, but even far older. There are even opinions that suggest the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence involvement, though there is absolutely no scientific evidence for this, reflecting the peculiar allure of this structure. One big question remains unanswered: who designed, led, and organized the construction of the walls of Jericho? Was it the result of collective wisdom, or did the world's first architects appear in human history, those who passed down their secrets to later generations? Beyond its archaeological value, the walls of Jericho are also famous for appearing in the Bible, with the story of Joshua and the trumpets of Jericho, where the city's walls were miraculously brought down by the power of God. However, archaeological layers reveal that the city was destroyed and rebuilt many times over millennia, with no evidence of an immediate collapse as the legend describes. The overlap and divergence between archaeological evidence and myth continue to fuel debate about the real role of the walls of Jericho in humanity's collective memory. Tel es-Sultan is not just famous for its walls, it also impresses with its unusual burial practices. Human skulls were coated with plaster facial features, sculpted, and shells added for eyes, likely to venerate ancestors or preserve the image of the deceased. This is clear evidence of the rich spiritual life of Neolithic residents and raises questions about beliefs, rituals, and a social structure much more advanced than previously thought. Additionally, the remnants of houses' ovens, pottery, and small idols found at Tel es-Sultan reflect the diversity of daily life technology and belief, painting a picture of the earliest organized creative society that worshipped the power of the collective. Another great mystery is the repeated destruction, burning, and rebirth of ancient Jericho. Each layer of earth and ash marks a period of prosperity followed by decline, possibly due to floods, earthquakes, droughts, conflict, or disease. This illustrates the community's resilience and extraordinary adaptability through dozens of generations. Though located in a low, arid region frequently affected by climate change, Tel es-Sultan thrived for thousands of years. The main reason is the abundant water from the Alicia Spring, enabling irrigation and stable social development. Yet time and again, harsh nature challenged the endurance of its residents, forcing them to innovate, rebuild, or even abandon the site for periods. Today, Tel es-Sultan is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, attracting many researchers and visitors. Each layer of ruins here holds stories of human evolution and unsolved mysteries. The walls of Jericho still stand tall as proof of humanity's monumental transition from primitive people to civilized society. They remind us that even without modern technology, our ancestors were able to create immortal wonders through intelligence and unity. Tel es-Sultan is not only the birthplace of urban life, agriculture, religion, and social rituals, but also a temple of humanity's greatest mysteries. Especially the walls of Jericho are an enduring symbol of intellect, collective strength, and unresolved questions about our very origins. In the arid lands of northeastern Iran, not far from the modern city of Damgan, there lies a gently sloping hill, seemingly anonymous amidst a vast desert. Yet beneath that dusty surface are layers upon layers of remains belonging to one of the oldest and most mysterious cultures ever to exist in Western Asia, Tepe Hissar. In the golden dusk, where desert winds sweep across old excavation pits, it's hard to imagine that thousands of years ago, this place was once a vibrant center of people inventions and mysterious beliefs that still perplex scientists searching for answers today. What do you think really happened to the Tepe Hissar civilization? Is there any theory you find most convincing? Or is there another mystery you'd like to explore further? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Excavations since the early 20th century have revealed that Tepe Hissar is among the sites of longest continuous human habitation, spanning from about 6000 BCE to more than 2000 BCE. Not just one, but many cultural layers stack atop each other like time itself. Each layer tells a different story about how humans conquered nature, invented technology, formed societies, and built unique spiritual values. This makes Tepe Hissar a living archive of human history containing thousands of artifacts and traces unmatched elsewhere. The ancient people of Tepe Hissar built large multi-story mud brick houses, granaries, advanced metalworking furnaces, deep wells, and complex water systems. They left behind great tombs where the dead were buried, with countless treasures of gold, silver, copper gemstones, and pottery crafted with astonishing finesse. Some areas even yielded exotic artifacts, such as jade stones or metals from Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, or even distant Central Asia, proving the existence of an extensive trade network no one expected in the Neolithic and Bronze Age. This raises a slew of questions. How did they communicate and trade with such faraway lands when transportation was so primitive? Who were the first merchants and explorers to cross the deserts and mountains of Western Asia? Step into the artistic world of Tepe Hissar and you'll encounter bas-reliefs and small statues depicting half-human, half-animal creatures, circles, suns, and strange symbols that even now scientists cannot fully explain. Are these the remnants of early faiths, rain-calling rituals, harvest prayers, or beliefs in the afterlife? Some items are amulets with bizarre details reflecting the awe and fear ancient people felt toward forces of nature they could not control. The art and religion of Tepe Hissar bear hints of familiar nearby cultures, but are also highly unique, showing the diversity of ancient Western Asian civilizations. Perhaps most astonishing at Tepe Hissar are the signs of advanced metallurgy. Its people not only knew how to smelt and work copper, but also created unusual alloys and made intricate jewelry from gold and silver. Some artifacts surpass the typical craftsmanship of neighboring cultures from the same era. These discoveries don't just reveal Tepe Hissar's advancement, but prompt the question, how did they access such sophisticated metallurgical knowledge when no written records or clear evidence of technology transmission have been found? But what haunts Tepe Hissar most is not what remains, but what happened that made it all vanish into silence. By the end of the second millennium BCE, when metalworking furnaces still burned and merchants bustled through its streets, this vibrant civilization suddenly disappeared. Archaeological layers show that the decline was rapid, within just 1 or 2 generations. Strangely, there are no clear signs of devastating war, massive fires, or major natural disasters to explain this collapse. There are no breached fortresses, no mass graves with marks of violence, no strong evidence of prolonged drought or epidemic die-off as seen in other cultures. Instead, the homes, furnaces, and granaries were simply abandoned people left, and this culture seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving almost everything intact. Why would such a prosperous, technically advanced, and well-connected community abandon their home in such a short time and disappear with almost no trace of where they went? Theories offered over decades remain just that, theories. One common hypothesis is climate change. Perhaps the region suddenly became harsher, less rain-long droughts, wells drying up soil, turning barren, forcing inhabitants to seek new lands. However, geological studies show that even if climate change did occur, it wasn't enough to explain such a sudden, simultaneous abandonment. Notably, other contemporary cultures nearby survived and even thrived, making the mystery of Tepe Hissar all the deeper. Some researchers suggest a deadly epidemic swept through Tepe Hissar, causing mass death or forced migration. But examining the bones has not revealed clear signs of acute disease, at least not among the skeletal samples found. Others argue the society became stratified or politically divided, resulting in internal conflict and mass departure. Yet archaeological evidence is not strong enough to support these theories. Another, more mystical idea, perhaps a spiritual event, superstition or widespread fear, prompted the whole community to abandon their ancestral land. Some artifacts and artworks from Tepe Hissar's final layers bear extreme or anxious expressions, even panic. But no ancient texts or records survive to clarify the emotions and beliefs of the people then. It's also possible that Tepe Hissar's disappearance was not a sudden catastrophe, but a gradual process of absorption into newly rising civilizations nearby. As centers of power and trade shifted to Mesopotamia, northern Iran, or Central Asia, Tepe Hissar lost its central role and was forgotten. People migrated, their culture was absorbed into new communities, blurring the traces. Curiously, in neighboring regions, archaeologists have not found clear signs of a large migration wave from Tepe Hissar. Did they disperse, blending into many small communities, or were they part of long-distance migrations? History never recorded. This question continues to puzzle archaeologists. Where did the people of Tepe Hissar go? Today, all that remains at Tepe Hissar are layers of ashy earth-broken pottery shards, a few skeletons, and ruined structures. But beneath all that lies a civilization full of ambition, invention, long-distance trade, strange beliefs, and an ever-present fear for the collapse they themselves could not foresee. Each excavation reveals more mysteries, unusual burial styles, artificially deformed skulls, traces of alloys of unknown composition, unexplained symbols, and exotic artifacts found in the unlikeliest places. Above all, the very historical void left by Tepe Hissar, a departure without fanfare clues, legends, or clear written records, has made it one of the greatest enigmas of Western Asian archaeology. It reminds us that no matter how glorious a civilization, it can vanish overnight, leaving only questions that may never be fully answered. The story of Tepe Hissar is not just ancient history, it is a warning about the fragility of all civilizations. It urges scientists, historians, and even ordinary people to keep searching for answers, to keep learning from the past as we prepare for the future. Who knows? Maybe one day, from the quiet, dusty soil, here a secret will emerge to finally answer the question, why did a great city vanish, leaving not a single farewell for those who came after? If anyone ever thought that the history of Western religion was a seamless flow, free of fractures, then Kuntillet Ajrud is exactly the controversial interruption, a system error in the Sinai Desert, where questions about origins, purpose, and faith still echo to this day. What was unearthed here, especially the mysterious inscriptions, not only rewrites the religious landscape of ancient Israel, but also opens a new path for both archaeology and the study of religious history. Do you think Kuntillet Ajrud was just a simple caravan station, or could it be a forgotten spiritual center full of mysteries? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Lying alone in the northeast corner of the Sannai Peninsula, Kuntillet Ajrud, is hardly an eye-catcher. Just low stone walls and scattered ruins, most of it buried under millennia of sand and dust. But when Israeli archaeologists excavated the site in the late 1970s, they did not just find the remains of a typical caravan station. What was most remarkable were the clay jars, wall plaster, and inscriptions with an array of extremely strange drawings, mostly in ancient Hebrew or Proto-Canaanite scripts, accompanied by motifs rarely seen in traditional Judaism. Most of the inscriptions at Kuntillet Ajrud carry the tone of blessing, protection, and praise for the god Yahweh, but the truly shocking aspect is the phrase Yahweh and his Asherah. This is not just a typical blessing, but implies that Yahweh, who would later be seen as the one and only God of Judaism, once had a consort or a female divine companion. Some inscriptions even mention Yahweh of Samaria, Yahweh of Teman, reflecting diverse localized beliefs and a near polytheistic worldview among the people of that time. These inscriptions created a seismic shock in the academic world. Was ancient Israelite religion not purely monotheistic from the start? Did there exist a transitional period where local and foreign beliefs strongly intermingled? This has forced many researchers to reconsider the entire process of formation and development of Judaism and later monotheistic religions. Alongside the inscriptions are a series of drawings, people bulls, sphinxes, animals, musical instruments. Some illustrations depict two figures standing together, possibly Yahweh and Asherah, or two other divine beings. There are also images of bulls, a common symbol in neighboring cultures, but rarely found in ancient Jewish art. These motifs add to the complexity and mystery of Kuntillet Ajrud. Is this simply a multicultural rest stop with travelers from many regions, or is it truly a ritual center where ancient traditions and beliefs were preserved and blended? The greatest mystery surrounding Kuntillet Ajrud lies in the true origins and purpose of this site. The question of who built Kuntillet Ajrud remains unanswered to this day. Situated in the Sinai Desert, at the crossroads of several ancient trade routes, Kuntillet Ajrud could have been a creation of the ancient Israelites, but it is equally possible that it was the work of semi-nomadic communities, merchants, or other multi-ethnic groups. In fact, some theories suggest it was an outpost established by the Northern Kingdom of Israel to assert their commercial and religious influence along this vital route connecting Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula, and the land of Canaan. However, traces found in the inscriptions here do not fully reflect classic Israelite features. Instead, there are many borrowed elements, unusual blessing formulas, and foreign divine names, suggesting this place may have been a crossroads and convergence point for multiple cultures rather than belonging to a single ethnic group. As for the original purpose of Kuntillet Ajrud, scholars have yet to reach a consensus and are divided into three main perspectives. Some believe it was simply a rest stop along a major trade route, ideal for resting, replenishing water, making repairs, and exchanging goods. The blessing inscriptions may have served as protective charms for travelers, merchants, and caravans on their perilous journeys through the harsh desert. Another viewpoint is that Kuntillet Ajrud was once a religious or ritual center, as the inscriptions there carry a strong ceremonial tone, accompanied by divine drawings and religious symbols, indicating it might have served as a kind of border temple, where offerings were made to guardian deities, most notably Yahweh and Asherah. This model is quite similar to the subsidiary shrines found on the fringes of other ancient Near Eastern cultures. Additionally, some scholars observe that the content of the inscriptions at Kuntillet Ajrud reflects a tendency to promote faith in Yahweh yet still incorporates local elements such as Asherah, Teman, Samaria, and so on. This has led to the theory that this site could have been a dissemination point for new belief systems, acting as an intermediary in the transition from polytheism to monotheism and from local cults to more Israelite-oriented faiths. Regardless of the perspective taken, there is still no definitive conclusion regarding the origins and true purpose of Kuntillet Ajrud. Archaeological evidence remains very limited, and the content of the inscriptions and drawings offers many possible interpretations, making this mystery all the more intriguing and challenging for researchers. Kuntillet Ajrud is one of the rare places that reflect the most intense syncretism in the ancient Near East. Here, the inscriptions are deeply Israelite, yet interwoven with symbols from Egyptian, Canaanite, and possibly even Arabian mythologies or those of neighboring deserts. This raises the theory perhaps Kuntillet Ajrud is a mirror reflecting a world that was never truly homogeneous, where all boundaries of religion and culture were blurred and flexible. Thus, the mystery of the origins and purpose of Kuntillet Ajrud is not limited to the question who built it and for what, but also expands to, was this once a center of religious power or merely a small station along the grand journey of ancient faiths? Perhaps what makes Kuntillet Ajrud even more mysterious is that nowhere else in the ancient Israelite world preserves such direct evidence of the public pairing of Yahweh and Asherah. This raises the question, is Kuntillet Ajrud a rare exception or just the visible part of an iceberg, a once widespread polytheistic past now erased as monotheism gradually prevailed? If Kuntillet Ajrud was just a rest stop, why the need for elaborate blessings, ritual drawings, and even oaths of special religious significance? If it was a temple, why is it so small, isolated, and seemingly unconnected to major religious centers like Jerusalem or Samaria? This semi-public, half-ritual, half-pragmatic nature makes the mystery of Kuntillet Ajrud's purpose even harder to unravel. Based on handwriting analysis, content, and materials, many scholars believe the authors of the inscriptions were not just priests, but also merchants, travelers, or even syncretic believers. This makes Kuntillet Ajrud resemble a collective record where the voices of common people and non-orthodox groups could be preserved. The discovery at Kuntillet Ajrud has forced scholars to re-examine the entire progression of Judaism, especially the transition from polytheism to monotheism. The site whispers of a past where multiple deities and forms of worship existed side by side, mysteries that later religious authorities tried to erase from the historical record. The blessings by Yahweh and his Asherah have shattered long-held assumptions, opening a new scholarly space regarding the Mother Goddess. In ancient Judaism, something that for millennia was considered heretical, even blasphemous. Kuntillet Ajrud may have been far more than just a simple stopover. It stands as a crossroads of forgotten religious currents and memories with mysteries about its origins and purpose that remain unsolved. This very ambiguity and incompleteness is what makes Kuntillet Ajrud so special, like an echo reminding us that religious history is always more diverse and complex than we often imagine.